Now's the time when things are shifting. There's gonna be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it.
True internet suffered depression.
You are fake news.
I am not suicidal.
We'll circle back with you directly. I can circle back. I'll circle back with you.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Hello and welcome to episode 279 of the Jeffrey and Brian Show. I am Jeffrey.
And I'm Brian.
And we're just two guys drinking some beer, talking about what's going on. We have the glorious and wonderful El Guapo with us once again.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Always fun to hear our illegal migrant who became a citizen's opinion on these things. Now someone's going to listen to the show and demand you get deported, watch.
Probably, yeah.
You gain citizenship.
What are they going to send me to El Salvador? Ooh.
Oh, no, not El
Not El Salvador.
I'll make a shit ton of money with mining Bitcoin with a volcano.
Yeah. El Salvador, they don't got the death penalty in there.
No, they'll put you in a maximum security prison with no guards and let everyone else kill you.
Yeah, but they don't have the death penalty because didn't you just commit like a death sentence this weekend?
Yes, we did. We will get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it's under leftovers. I thought it was in intro. We'll definitely bring it up. But before we get going, I want to point out that Gemini can now turn your Google Docs into podcasts. And I was a little frustrated by this because that's how we do our show is we set it up through Google Doc.
Right.
Organize it to flow, and then we can like check the facts as we go. And Google Docs stole that from us. Caught up to us. And who's the professional football player that's doing the same fucking show we do, getting drunk with someone and talking about the news cycle?
I forgot his name.
We talked about him a couple times. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Because I think his show came so famous with Cat Williams predicting what's going to happen in 2025 and everything's coming through.
Yeah, exactly. It was the Cat Williams episode. I found out about this guy's show.
Yeah.
And anyone who doesn't do Cat Williams as well, then you guys just don't know funny comedy. I don't know how to way to put it.
He's hilarious. You saw when he roasted the Mexicans in about Arizona?
No, but I'm sure it was pretty good because he's ghetto fabulous, if I may.
Yeah.
So we have more aircraft crashes going on.
Oh yeah, this is all crazy.
Helicopter wrecked in the Hudson, and unfortunately for helicopters, you cannot land a helicopter like that on the water like you could a plane in an absolute emergency.
No.
I would like to point out this is not a commercial line. This is a tourist thing where tourists do like tours of the city via helicopter. And they were foreign nationals that are like involved in Pfizer or something, or Siemens.
Yeah,
Siemens, and what they make like sinks and medication and piping and stuff, right? And all sorts of like technology, plastics and stuff. I think. I know that they make plumbing. I know that. But yeah, trying to blame Trump for this helicopter wreck. I thought that was kind of nuts.
Yep.
You got anything else? All right. Well, Eric Adams has finally had enough of the Democrat Party taking a dump on him and casting him out. So he's actually leaving the party now.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, we saw that coming, didn't we?
Yeah.
As soon as he was like, "Hey, man, we're going a little hard on this COVID stuff," like, oh, he is done. He's getting ousted. He's going to get canceled. And here it is. Took longer than I thought, but once again, Brian, you and I are from the future. We saw this shit coming way before everyone else.
Yep.
Which I got to admit, it is fun listening to some of these more popular podcasts come out and say the same shit we said like 2 years after we said it. I'm like, damn, if only someone would listen to our garbage show. Suppose we need some production value, though, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jasmine Crockett. Here we go. Let me see if I can't get this audio up and running first.
Right.
She says the dumbest things.
Yes, she does.
I can't.
She's right up there with the View.
Yeah. Exactly. This says there's a video of it, but I don't see it. Video. Yeah. Oh, geez. Now the Blaze is bringing up their pop-up zombie, trying to get me to sign up. Here we go. Let me know if you can hear
I
this.
have to go
Oh,
around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now.
I
Okay, so I'm
farm.
lying. Raise your hands. You're not. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Okay, now, first of all, obviously the fucking millionaires that are in the media that are doing this stuff, no, they're not farming.
Right.
They're not. You're right.
No.
People like me, I grow my own food. Brian, you got chickens making food for you.
Nope.
Like people do this stuff. And then she was dumb to say, we done picking cotton. It's like, oh my God, so you want some other slave class to do it instead? And by the way, we use machines now, right?
Yeah, we use some machines almost for anything.
Criminy. It's just oh my God. The ignorance of this woman, the dumb shit she says. And now she's being investigated by the Federal Elections Committee because of her the donation she got from Act Blue, saying that there might have been some illegal donations in there.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, why is it always the crazy? I mean, it's never Nancy Pelosi here about doing this. Of course, Nancy Pelosi has had to run since like 1998, though, right?
Right.
She just has to put her name on the ticket.
Yeah.
All right. A little more in follow up. Luigi Mangione is talking to the judges to block the death penalty. I don't think the judge has that authority as long as it meets the criteria for a capital offense, right?
Well, it's a federal offense that committed now.
Well, he crossed state lines with a weapon that he didn't have proper documentation for, which I personally have no problem with.
Yeah.
I believe that is a Second Amendment thing. But he assassinated a man. It wasn't just a first degree murder; it was an assassination, which makes it a capital offense.
Did the New York get capital punishment?
New York does not, but the federal government does.
Okay.
Just like what we talked about in Massachusetts with the Boston bombings.
Yeah, they want to do a federal. Like, how about the same case? Like, you know.
Well, that's what drove me nuts when Massachusetts did it. I was like, do your own dirty work. You know what I mean? You got to
Yeah.
do your own wet work. Don't get the federal government to do it for you because you don't. Oh, we don't believe in it. Please go and kill this man.
Yeah, and then now they don't want to even do it. They want to release the freaking brothers.
Well, one of the brothers got run over by the other brother.
I mean, sorry, they want to release the brother.
Zokar Sarnav or whatever.
No, they want the Buster Bombers.
Yeah, Sarnav.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zokar Sarnav or something like that.
I have no idea. I don't remember the name.
And his brother Speed Bump that he ran over and killed trying to get away.
I don't remember.
That's what happened. I don't know if everyone remembers that.
I don't know what was it. What year was this? 2012?
Maybe. I just remember I was at ATI and my instructor pulled me aside. He's like, hey, man, you're from the Boston area, right? You know anyone at the marathon? I was like, yeah, my sister's running. He's like, oh, come over here for a minute. I was like, whoa, what? I was like, I need to go home and call my family right now. You know?
I don't know where I was when that happened. I was in the Navy, so I was in the middle of the ocean, probably.
Yeah, which we're definitely going to be getting on to what's going on with the Navy and the Air Force because looks like shit might be popping off in Iran soon, but we'll find out. But here's something that you and I have discussed several times, Brian. I think Guapo might have been involved in some of these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
The gold conspiracy at Fort Knox that there's none left.
Oh, yeah. Are they going to do
let's see an audit, right?
Musk promised us video from Fort Knox.
So how is that confirming the theory that there's no gold if you're going to say, I'm going to show you a video of the gold? And
but there's been no video released of the gold.
Yeah.
Of course not, because it's not there.
Probably they don't what's the name? Because there's the dollar's not backed up by gold anymore, so
since Nixon.
Yeah, but you still want to have that's like insurance. Like, hey, we can
Oh, we still have money sitting no matter what. Just like the same reason why we keep a strategic oil reserve, right?
Yeah.
Well, we don't got it right now. Or is it empty?
It's not empty, but it is much lower than when Trump left office the first time because he
Oh,
not just topped it off, but he added to it.
well, he was smart to do it because the oil was so low. It was almost
Yeah.
dirt cheap. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
buy it all
okay,
up now.
no, yeah, buy it now, but also when that happened, it increased the oil price because you don't want the oil to be too cheap, which is not
I
good either.
know. I keep hearing that, but I don't know how. Because right now they're saying, oh, the cost of a barrel of oil is way down. That's not a
Oh
good thing. Like, how is that not a good thing?
no, the thing is the thing is forever is the freaking refinement. That's what it takes. We don't got that many. Remember, we got a couple of refinements caught on fire. So
I think we only have 3 refineries in the nation.
yeah, and I think we need to get more.
Yeah, and we have a higher standard than the rest of the world when it comes to oil
Yeah,
refinement too.
yeah,
No,
but
exactly. Let's bring some of these jobs back in the country instead of buying gasoline somewhere else, right?
yeah, bring refinement back. And
Well,
but yeah, that's I mean you don't want it to be too dirt cheap too because even gasoline because then it's like why am I doing this work? You know, is it just not paying me enough?
well, that's exactly what happened. Is people will stop working in the oil industry, they'll go somewhere
Mhm.
else. The price of oil will shoot back
Yeah,
up.
so that's why you have to keep a balance, and that's what he did with the refilling the strategic reserve, like so balance the you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was under COVID. It cost these guys money per barrel of oil they pulled out of the ground because
Yeah, you ever watch
they
the
couldn't sell it for
Landman?
as much as it cost them to store it. And it's like, whoa.
You ever watched the TV series Landman yet?
I am like 4 episodes in, haven't finished the first
Oh,
season, but
well, he
I
was talking
definitely
about
got
it
to
like
the
you know what, you don't want it to be too low, you don't want it too high, you
yeah.
want it this amount, you know.
I I definitely got to the part when he was talking about the windmills and the lady's like, oh, see, they're even going green. He's like, are you kidding me? That just
Yeah,
powers the oil pump.
yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
Mm.
All right, so this next one here, an intro, I shared it to the group, and Guapo immediately came back with why, which is the same thing everyone else I brought this up to asked right away.
Yeah, like what's the point of this?
We
Like
have brought the dire wolf back from extinction. I didn't think this thing was real. I thought it was a myth like the fucking unicorn. You know
I
what I
had never
mean?
heard of it before, but like god damn, this shit is
Game of Thrones,
ah,
Yep.
the dire wolves.
yeah,
They're
okay.
enormous, ferocious monsters. And here's the thing is they didn't really bring them back from extinction. They modified genes in an existing wolf and made an embryo that a wolf gave birth to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same genetic code because they had old DNA and a very old tooth. These things went extinct like 12,000 years ago.
I thought it was 1,000 years ago.
Okay, maybe it was 1,200. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 1,200 years ago.
Maybe it was 1,200.
So we
But
hunt this out of existence because probably it's it's killing fucking people left and right, and now we want to
or
bring
it
it
might
back. Like,
just,
sure, what could
or
go
we might,
wrong?
or we might just come out of an ice age and the wolf just overheated and couldn't handle the warm too. I don't know.
A thousand years ago, I don't know if it was an ice age. This is when England was barely becoming a kingdom.
Yeah, as the ice was receding from most of the planet. Like, I'm just saying the ice comes and goes.
Yeah, the climate
But
change.
here's the thing: is I was reading the article on the pups' names, Romulus and Remus. I was like, oh, they went with the founders of Rome. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, how's that
and
going?
then the third one, Khaleesi. I was like, oh my god, they went to Game of Thrones instead of why
Yeah.
Romulus and Remus suckled from a wolf's teeth when they founded Rome.
Yeah, I thought it
as
was a cool
babies.
name.
Why didn't you use that wolf's name, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, such a great opportunity. And you guys went with a fucking pop culture reference, you know?
Oh my God. And this is how we're gonna die.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Here's the execution you were talking about in South Carolina. This dude,
Mhm.
McCall Mahdi, he was executed by firing squad.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
still get that.
It's been on the books since like the 70s, I guess. But only like 12 people have been executed in that means in South Carolina. This guy got to choose it. And, it's 3 volunteer corrections officers handed rifles. And they had to shoot a target directly over the man's heart. And obviously, one of the guys had a blank because you have to be able to tell yourself it wasn't me, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
I
geez
heard.
Louise,
I
though,
heard they
firing
don't get
squad,
this.
dude.
They don't get this choice to female because they don't never get an answer.
What's that?
They don't get this choices of how you want to die.
Oh, because the women will just say, I don't know, whatever you want.
You want?
Which, by the way, we three need to open a restaurant up called Whatever. So
Oh.
every time and make it like a bar with like a Hooters type thing with like big breasted women and wings and beer. And every time she goes, I don't know, whatever. So you're like, okay, let's go to
Let's go to
Whatever.
whatever. I like that.
But
I like that.
I don't know, man. Like if you had to be executed, firing squad might be the quickest, honestly. Like you're not screwing. Well, I say that you could miss, obviously, but like how many times have they botched a lethal injection, or even most states got rid of the chair that did use it because it was so cruel.
Yeah.
Like a hanging is a good way to go if you do it correctly.
Good luck with that. There's a lot of math to it too. People don't realize that.
Yeah. Well, a general rule is half the length of someone's body is how far they should fall.
Well, you hear about the incident.
But if you don't do enough, you hang there and choke to death. That sounds horrible.
There was an incident about this gentleman that was missing an arm and a leg or something like that.
Oh, and the math didn't work out.
Yeah, and it just was horrible.
I bet watching him struggle trying not to die, right?
No, it was like a shootout. It was just crazy, like one of those crazy history stuff. Like, no way.
Oh, and more than once in history, they've put too much rope in, and these dudes' heads have popped right off. Or even worse, so much slack that your feet hit the ground.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we got to do this again. It's like, can we try something else, guys? This looks like it's going to be horrible.
Oh my god.
All right. So I think Brian shared this one about this new bill that they're trying to get through that could let the Veteran Affairs Centers use psychedelics to treat vets.
Yeah, I did.
So this goes right into the LSD conversation we had last week, right?
Right.
And it's funny because psilocybin will change the way you see the world, that's for sure. LSD changed the way you see the world. What kind of drugs are they looking to use? I mean,
LSD, I think.
All right. The government's been messing with LSD for way too long. All right. All right. Into local. The governor here, the new guy, Morrissey. Have you seen this man?
White hair guy.
Yeah, very overweight. Very, very overweight. Like he's got a full-on Dunlap.
Manchin's no longer the governor.
Manchin was a senator.
What's the other guy? Forgot.
Justice,
yes.
Yeah, he became a congressman or a senator or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this new guy, he's very heavy, but I like his way of doing stuff. And he signed off with RFK Jr. about the food dye bans. And Kennedy actually called him out about his weight, saying, hey, man, you need to be the example about being healthy. So now this dude is doing like a personal health journey. He's like walking a mile every day. And he's like recording this stuff and publishing. Like he's genuinely putting in some effort.
Yeah.
And I think that leadership works best when someone actually leads instead of telling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't like Obama's lead from behind crap because that's not a thing. You can't lead from behind.
Yeah,
That's shouting orders at someone else to do the work, right?
Yeah.
Fun thing coming up here in July. The Elk River, which is the river that's if I go across the street and down the side of the mountain a little bit, I'll pop into the Elk River. It goes all the way down to the ocean, really. But I can drive along it for like 2 hours, no problem on the same road.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a float thing, and it's like $20 for a ticket. It's like 4 miles. You drop off your aquatic vehicle, your vessel, at the dam, and then you drive down to the pickup point, and the bus will bring you back. So like people use kayaks, canoes, like giant rafting stuff, the donut rings, and all I could think was like, how many people are gonna have a trash bag to throw their empties in when they just float down the river for 4 miles? You know?
Nobody.
No, you don't think so? You think it's gonna throw them in the river? But yeah, it looks like a ton of fun. It's for charity. And I just laughed a little bit because you can go do this anytime you want. And it doesn't cost anything, but you know, they're trying to get people together for raise money for charity. Now check this out. And see, I'm making an effort to find good news locally because there's a lot of bad news in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And here's an example: is this high school kid out here? He's facing felony charges for a sports injury.
What?
Well, a basketball game, he threw an elbow and broke this kid's nose to the point it bled for 4 hours, and I'm like, that shit
Mm,
happens. You know, I was like, that shit
I
happens.
mean, like,
Unfortunately, in
you got
sports.
video evidence to see if it was a
Yeah,
malintent or
not only is there video evidence, there's video of this guy hitting like 5 other people in the back of the head, and apparently at one point they watched him wiping something off his elbow, like he was using some kind of weapon to elbow people.
oh, so yeah, a numb cream to like so he don't have.
It was probably exactly numbing cream, so he didn't hurt his own arm.
Yeah, so yeah,
Uh,
there's malice intent to it. So,
I mean, they're saying they charge him as an adult, but he's 18. Like,
oh, well, he's an adult.
yeah, I'm wondering if maybe West Virginia has a law saying if you're in high school, you're still not an adult, but I don't know.
Well, can
Right.
he vote?
That's what I said. If you're 18, you're an adult. You could vote. You can join the service. You can go to prison for being a
I
man,
think
right?
they need to cut down the high school to 3 years and just give you the basic way you need to survive. By the time you're 18, you're already graduated. You should not be around other kids.
I know what you mean because he broke the nose of a
Okay,
17-year-old.
so
So
it's an
an
18.
adult broke
If
a minor's nose.
Yeah, but let's suppose an 18-year-old start dating a 17-year-old, he's still gonna
most
get
states say that's okay.
most days, but
I'm just saying most states give you a 2-year gap, so it's not some kind of child rape
yeah, but
charge.
still, but you have to like, oh, sorry, you're 18, you got to go up there.
Mm.
You're
No,
an
I
adult.
get you, man, but like I learned a lot of stuff in high school that my local taxpayers paid for that I wouldn't have done with just a basic education. I took a lot of extra courses in school. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I
yeah,
took
no, that's
advantage
what
of.
I said. Like, like in the first 3 years, knock out your basic course, and like after that, you just do like mediocre course that you want to learn extra and stuff like that. But you have to be out by 18. Like, and you when you're 18, at least like half of the day is yours. Then
Okay,
half
so
you can go to work.
you're saying do like your
A process
junior
to
high. Hold
a
up, your
process.
junior high, your high school, then like a senior high where you do the extracurricular courses
Mm-hmm.
where you take your so what do you think of life skills? Should
Yeah,
sewing
yeah.
and
Sewing,
cooking
cooking.
be a high school course?
Yeah, if at least you can at least have to work in a restaurant. Like, you know what? When you're down on your luck, at least you can work in a restaurant room. Or like
Well,
whatever.
I had to
Basic
take a
electrician,
typing course. I had to
basic
take a course
electrician,
to learn how to
basic power.
type and how to use a sewing machine to graduate junior
Oh,
high.
dude, my one of my first high school, I learned how a little bit of mechanic. Then my other school did not have mechanic class, so I took
Oh,
electronic. So I learned how
yeah.
to solder and stuff like that.
Yeah. I took like tech systems and
Yeah.
3D design. 3D design, dude, was fucking clay. It was a
Oh.
clay course. But I mean, I also took calculus too in high school.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of opportunities in a wealthy neighborhood school. I'm going to be 100% honest with that one. The South Shore of Massachusetts is not a poor community.
Yeah. Man, I
Shit,
got some
my
kids
high school
like
had a vocational wing.
I had some kids that they just took the main course to get the points to get, and halfway through the senior year, like they only show up like half a day.
I knew a ton of those guys.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm doing my thing now, like whatever.
Yeah, but if you, yeah, I get that. But I was like, now I get to graduate high school with a higher than a 4.0 GPA because I took more courses than I needed to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we had a dude die by getting hit by a train yesterday.
That's insane.
He was
What?
walking down the tracks, and all I could
Oh.
think of was either this guy was shit ass wasted, or he stood there and waited for that train to come get him.
No,
Yeah.
one was two.
There's no way you didn't hear a train coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but why would you walk down the train? Like I said, people walking down the sidewalk. I mean, on the street. There's a perfectly good, healthy sidewalk in there. You can just go walk it. But
Yeah, walk
why?
next to the train tracks if that's the route home, right?
Yeah,
Not on them.
yeah,
That's why I was thinking like this dude stood in the tracks on purpose.
yeah.
Yeah, like this is oh what and yeah, they tried to save the guy's life. I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't imagine the mangled mess that showed up with a train full of coal come slamming through you. All right. Well, how many people died in Virginia? Because you guys always have some story about someone dying or going to prison for killing somebody.
Yeah, well,
Well, this man was shot in Hampton after brandishing a firearm in front of the cops. He did not get shot. He did not get killed.
You might have a lawsuit, but God knows how well that'll go in
well,
court.
what? See the word brandishing. What did it mean by it? He was like
Brandishing typically means to hold your firearm in an aggressive and defensive manner, like aggressive and or defensive. So like back the fuck off and you have your gun pointed at the ground, but pointing your gun at someone is also brandishing.
Okay, so like, does it mean like if you're showing off, like, hey, it's hosted, but like,
No, if you
that's
just
not
pull your shirt up
brandishing.
to show you're concealed, you might get hit with brandishing too, with an attempt to intimidate. But again, it depends on local laws. And that's the question. Did this guy, I don't know, did something happen? This guy drew his gun and pointed at the ground, wait to see what's going on, or did he point his gun at a cop? Because,
I think he pointed his gun at a cop.
well, then, yeah, you deserve to
Yeah.
get shot for that, right? But if you don't know better by now, then let's get you out of the gene pool, I say, you know?
The cops had received 2 calls about a man with a gun and a brandishing complaint. When they arrived, they found
Oh,
this 35-year-old. I just saw him walking up and down the street this morning with the rifle in his hand, pointing at vehicles and pointing at houses.
so yeah, so he
that's a good way to get shot.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they at least warned him, but
And
come on.
then he displayed the firearm at the officers, and the police said, and the officer shot Jones. 2 firearms were recovered from the scene.
Mm.
Do you remember when I did my little protest?
Yeah,
about
you did it
gun
with
control?
swords, though.
I carried tons of swords and blades on me, and the cops pointed a gun at me. I was thinking when it happened, I was like, "Oh fuck, am I gonna get shot?" Yeah, that was right there on Mercury Boulevard.
Yep.
Yeah, what a mess that was, dude. That was a long time ago.
You called them and let them know you were going to be there. So
I did in advance, and then I spoke to the state police after, and their entire department had to get training about the First Amendment and Second Amendment, which is pretty badass. Well, I remember talking to the chief. He's like, "Oh, you think that's what happened?" I was like, "I don't know. That's what my 2 years of law enforcement, my 4 years of criminal justice told me." So let's see what the state police say, and if they don't like it, maybe I'll contact the county and see what happens because they can actually bring charges. But that's neither here nor there. Let's move on. You guys had a shooting again, I guess.
Yeah, just like mom and teen and stuff. Like, God damn, what the
Yeah,
fuck is going on, dude?
they got
Like,
together to shoot the dad.
yeah. So this is. This is what I don't want to hear. Like, oh, the men are so aggressive. Look what's going on out there. All this fucking single, all the single mothers teaching the kids what the fuck they doing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's studies have been done actually. Children
Yeah.
with single fathers
Mhm.
tend to live a better life than children raised by single mothers, and in that in particular, bring in more money every year and are less likely to go to jail.
Yeah, because of more.
Because the
Like,
fathers install the virtue and the morals versus it's okay, honey, it's okay,
yeah.
And
But
I
at
know
the
that
same time,
sounds sexist, but
they show you that like actually got consequences. So.
oh yeah, my little girl,
Mhm.
she knows. The wife's never said, "Wait till your father gets here," but yeah, she knows that if she's gonna get spanked, it's gonna be me. But I'm gonna be the one who's like, "Nope, go to your room. I'm unplugging your TV.
Yeah.
I'm taking your Alexa out of there." Where
Yeah.
I don't know, men and women are different, and that used to be
Yeah,
a sexist
you
thing to
need both
say.
in the house.
Yeah, well, it used to be a sexist thing to say that, but now if you don't admit they're different, then there's no point in transitioning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Jesus, this next one scared the shit out of me, dude.
Yeah, it
What was
did.
a third grader?
He had a gun in his backpack, and it went off. Nobody was hit by a bullet or anything, but it went off in his backpack, and his parents have been arrested.
Is it
Yes.
Virginia Beach? Oh, it's Pavilion County.
Yeah, was that the one in
Oh.
Williamsburg?
No, this is
Northern Virginia,
Northern Virginia.
okay.
or
All
like
the
around the
liberals.
Richmond area.
All the is it over there? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Loudoun County.
No, that's on Northern Virginia. This is
Yeah, I know.
Richmond. Is it?
Okay.
I don't know
But,
what
you know,
Pavilion is.
how did a third grader get his hands on this gun? And
That's why the parents have been arrested, probably.
why was it loaded? And why wasn't the safety on?
Okay, if a third grade have a fucking gun, probably there's not safety regulations in the house. First of all,
Oh no, I mean, like I have my shotgun sitting above my fireplace. If my little girl went and got the ladder, she could get up there and get it.
yeah,
But the safety is on and the ammunition is technically stored separately, but it's stored like 18 inches from the gun. You know
Yeah,
what
but
I
I'm
mean?
saying like,
But
these
I'm just saying, if she
people.
got the shotgun, she wouldn't know how to load it and how to take the safety off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this like,
Obviously, this guy was loaded. This thing was loaded.
yeah,
Sheesh.
and his backpack and
And
third grade. Hold on, what?
third grader, yeah. And don't get me wrong, we keep a loaded gun in the house. It's a 22 revolver that we keep in our bedroom in a shelf in the closet. And here's the fun thing: is our little girl who shot this 22 revolver. She's not strong enough to cock the hammer, and it's a single action. That means you have to physically cock the hammer every time you want to fire it. So even if she got her hands on it, she wouldn't be able to fire it. Which is funny because that's actually the safety. Like, there's no actual physical safety. The safety is you have to cock the hammer to fire. Um,
1911.
and
Also,
okay, some dude in a wheelchair. Was he like crossing the road or something, or what? He got hit
Yes,
by a
he was
truck?
crossing the road. It was before the sun came up, and
Ah,
he got hit by a pickup truck, and he did not make it.
jeez.
And he was in the crosswalk.
Yeah, and it probably had a cross sign. So I wonder if the guy ran a red light. But that's too bad because statistically, he probably wasn't born paralyzed,
Right,
and something probably happened to put him in that wheelchair, like getting hit by a fucking truck.
right.
And then he gets hit by a truck and killed. That's just a sad, sad thing.
Yep.
Okay, and what's up with this dude that happened at Chesapeake, dude? Like, this pissed me off. And how did he get a plea deal?
That's a good question. But yeah, he stole $40 from kids checks their lemonade stand in Chesapeake. And
you
What
got a
kind of
plea deal.
trash bag steals $40 from little children selling lemonade?
Did we got his name and shit? Probably he's gonna move out of town like after this shit.
Oh, you have to after that. Are you kidding me? There's no way
Yeah,
you can go back home.
yeah. Like
yeah,
nobody.
we have his name. He's 19 now, and his name was
Hold on, he's 19 years
Esteban
old.
Santillan.
He's 19
Oh,
years old.
so when this happened, he was young and was just a bully.
Yeah.
Well, he was 18. It happened last year. He pled
Jeez.
guilty to one count of grand larceny.
Grand larceny for $40.
Mm.
Jeez.
But they're going to defer the final order of guilt. He's got probation for a year.
I hope he paid back the $40 plus interest too, because
And he's got to be good behavior, complete 100 hours of service, undergo a mental health evaluation, and pay court costs.
okay, okay. Okay, I can understand that. That's more than just a slap on the wrist. That's, hey man, you really fucked up here.
Yeah, fucking
Like,
kids and shit.
come on, you know better than to steal from children selling lemonade, right?
No, he don't. Apparently, no.
He asked the
Wow.
kids, he was going to buy a glass of lemonade. As one of the kids began to pour the glass, he grabbed a jar of money and left in his vehicle.
Whoa.
He looks
Drug
Spanish
addict?
too.
I'm surprised he's not.
Well,
managed
this
to go to
worked out
rehab.
fine. This worked out okay for the kids. That's probably why he didn't have to pay the money back, because it sparked a huge turnout in the neighborhood and outpouring of
Everyone bought.
support. They set up another lemonade stand in a different location, and they made $6,200.
Oh, so they franchised as soon as they could. And took
Yeah,
advantage of this.
they used the bad publicity to make good publicity.
These kids and their parents are entrepreneurs, and
Yeah.
you should take advice from these guys. No news is no publicity is bad publicity, right?
That's right.
Hey, and I kind of like this next one you got here, the Virginia Beach school thing. They're gonna start tracking school buses in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I
with
kind
an
of
app.
like it, but at the same time, it's like, dude, how much helicopter parents we have to be nowadays?
Oh, it's one. Well, I mean, the bus is late, and you
Yeah.
check to see what's going on. But at the same time,
Yeah.
does this give everyone else access to the bus route and where they are at
No,
all
that's
times?
that's the. Apparently, I think unless you register your email, but at the same time, how often are you gonna kick out everybody's email to make sure
And
that's you?
realistically, if I want to know where the bus is going to be, I'll just follow it from the bus lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I like the idea of being able to check in, like, hey, the bus is 20 minutes late coming home. You know, I'm gonna check
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm pretty sure when Trump ran for office, he was talking about like no tax, no income tax is one thing in general, but in particular, people making less than 150,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
Why is this just now coming out again? Like
Because
this is one of his campaign promises.
no, the campaign promises was no tax on tips.
I think that's a
Uh,
stupid mistake.
what?
No tax on tips.
Yeah. No tax on tip and something else. No overtime
No tax
tax.
on overtime is a big one.
Yeah, so that's what. And now he realized that you know what? Instead of you buying like you paying taxes out of your income, how about you purchase it where you want your money to go? You know, and you pay your. That's how you pay your taxes. You
Yeah,
know.
taxes are on sales, and depending on
Yeah,
what you want to buy,
yeah.
there's different taxes.
At the same time, you could decide where you want to save. If you want to save your money, you know, like hey, let me save some of my money. I don't have to buy stupid, ridiculous shit all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially now that everybody's consuming. You know.
And when you do go to buy a new car, are you going to buy some luxury German automobile or are you going to buy a Ford?
Yeah.
That's going to depend on how much you get taxed too, right?
Yeah. That's what the Japanese got smart. Like, you know what? Like, they're, I don't know. They saw this ahead of time, but they start building a lot of Toyotas in here. You
Oh
know,
yeah. And Hyundai, is that Japanese or is that Korean?
Korea.
Korean.
Okay, the Koreans are
Yeah,
also
right now
excellent
they
in
got
day
they got a
rolls.
big backlash because of the security issues they have. The even insurance is high as hell for the Hyundai.
Really, the Elantra. I really
Yeah,
loved
but
that car for a while.
they were getting stolen left and right, so insurance gonna was high. That's why the
Yeah.
Hyundai is really cheap as hell because nobody's buying them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled about these fired probationary employees. So are we hiring them back or are they staying fired?
They're staying fired.
Hmm.
Excellent, because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been a whole bunch of rulings from courts that say one thing, one court says one thing, then the next court up says another thing, then the next court up says another thing. And it's starting to really frustrate the crap out of me. And then especially when it came to this deportation thing, we'll get to it. But
Yeah.
like I don't know, is it the same guy when the courts ruled different ways, or was it two different guys? I don't know.
Two different guys.
Okay, so that makes a little more sense. Well, Doge is at it. So I mean, now we've cut these probationary employees, so we don't have to pay them and train them.
Yeah.
Which don't get me wrong, you shouldn't necessarily fire all probationary people,
No, but
but
this is
you don't
what
need to
Biden.
double the
No,
size of government every fucking 5
this
years.
is Biden was using him to inflate his number. Like, oh, we employed this many people. Yeah, they
Well, yeah,
were
it's jobs
probation.
report. It's like, yeah, you hired them to do
Yeah.
nothing. Well, Doge is taking over one of these websites that handles $500 billion in federal funds.
God,
What do you think is going to happen with that?
they're probably gonna tear it apart.
Yeah, have you noticed that a whole bunch of these ridiculous overseas policy programs are getting shut down in the wake of USAID getting shut
Yeah,
down?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, oh yeah, no, we weren't funding that. Then why'd they close down as soon as we stopped giving money out? You know. And now Doge is saying there's millions of tax dollar claims for the unemployment for babies. And yeah, I get it. The 6-month-old doesn't have a job, but don't you usually have to pay into unemployment before you can get paid out?
Depends on the state.
And you know what you could say? It was someone punched in the wrong. Like one person is born like 2154 or 2054, something like that. And I'm like, okay, it could have been a mistake. You meant to do 1954 and just weren't paying enough attention. I could see that, but how come nobody has gone and looked at this and said, hey, that person hasn't been born yet. Let's find out what's going on. Because that's what everyone's saying is like, oh, it was just a typo, human error. I'm like, oh, I can understand that.
Well, let's correct it now, then.
Let's go fix it so that the right numbers are in there. So we're not possibly paying out babies or people that haven't been born yet, or people that are 150 years old. And they're always their argument is like, oh, it's a human error. It's like, well, then fucking fix it. I mean, we've all done it. I mean, I'm sure you've gone in to put in your date of birth and put in today's date before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's an easy mistake to make, but it's so easy to fix too. Whatever. Now one of these Harvard advisors has resigned after a lawsuit. Explains how he's tied to Hamas, which shouldn't be a DOGE issue, except right now, Harvard is suing the Trump administration to block the reviews of their funds, federal
Yeah,
funding at
because
that.
$9 billion in federal funds to Harvard.
Why? Harvard graduates are given millions of dollars a year to the school. Like that's enough to run.
And
the
they got
school.
an endowment program too, where they've got billions of dollars in. So
Well, that's what I meant by the alum are
okay,
throwing millions of dollars
Yeah.
at them. They're endowing the university, the school. But again, Harvard is a private school. It's not government funded. It's not a government school in any way, like UMass would be. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So why is the federal government giving billions of dollars to a private university to teach these kids how to protest against Israel?
Right.
It's frustrating to me. I'm glad something's happening, but I can't believe. Does Harvard even have any authority to say no? You can't have a look at the money you're giving us.
No, not when it's federal funds.
Yeah, like that's your tax dollar, Brian Guapo, in Virginia, paying some rich asshole's education in Harvard, in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Doesn't
Where
that
they're
kind of
trying
piss
to
you off?
park the car.
Yeah, you got to park your car in Harvard Yard and walk the rest of the way back because it's way too far to walk and have a beer. I can still bust out the accent, especially after a couple beers. All right, so I'm not sure what CMS is. I read this article, but I already forgot.
It's the organization that controls Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay, this one here, I think, might have issues with Trump stepping on toes that he promised not to. He's looking to stop certain Medicaid spending, and I understand because it's on like internet provider and like housekeeping.
Yeah.
And I understand why you wouldn't want that to be part of Medicaid, but he promised not to touch Medicaid.
Well, I
And he's
mean,
gonna-
Medicaid should be providing poor people with actual,
healthcare.
yes, not
Yes,
their
but-
cell phone service, not free housekeeping,
Well,
not internet
maybe-
for your home.
Maybe housekeeping to an extent, because if you can't get around physically, because you're like severely injured or even paralyzed, it might be a good idea to have someone come around and clean up once in a while so you don't get sick from whatever's living in your home. You know what I mean? And but at the same time, it's like, yeah, exactly. Why am I paying your internet subscription so your cell phone and your computer work?
Right.
And I got a feeling that this is going to come back and bite Trump if any of this goes through. Just like if he did anything to cut Social Security.
Well, that's the latest Dem rally cry, that he's going to cut Social Security, but he's never actually said that.
No, he said he won't. The only thing he's tried to do with Social Security is stop 150-year-olds from collecting it. And considering the oldest human in the United States is 117, which is insanely old, But yeah, exactly. And I got a feeling Medicaid and Social Security are two landmines he doesn't even want to go near.
No, nobody wants to go near him.
Well, especially because he specifically said he wouldn't, and they're just taking him out of context all the time anyway, and saying he will.
Yeah.
And if anything actually does happen, they're going to pull out the video of him actually saying, "I won't touch it."
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, according to the DOGE reports that have been coming out, it looks like the Democrat states are the ones that are dealing with the most unemployment fraud in the last.
Do you know which
4
states
years.
that? You guess which one of the states is?
Oh, it's got to be Massachusetts.
It is.
Yeah, California's probably on the list.
It is, and so is New York.
Yeah, New York, maybe Jersey.
Nope, New York. California, New York, and Massachusetts doled out more than $300 million in proper unemployment payments over the last 4 years.
Again, that's all money coming out of our pockets that shouldn't be getting spent. It's like, come on, man.
Well,
Joe
California also accounted for 68% of the benefits that were dispensed under former President Joe Biden's parolees identified by federal So we were paying unemployment people, the people on the government's terrorist watch list, or had criminal records.
Yeah, I would imagine that would exempt you from benefits, wouldn't it?
Good.
Yeah, it should. If you're gonna defraud the people, maybe we shouldn't be giving you more money, right?
Right.
I actually caught up with my Shark Tank today. Mark Cuban is one of the sharks,
Mhm.
and he's saying if they replaced Elon Musk with him, he'd still do like most of the same stuff by cutting a lot of people to balance this budget. And remember, Cuban was one of the most vocal, outspoken billionaires against Trump and his Doge.
Yeah.
Which I
Guess he's
still laugh.
changing his tune.
I still laugh when I hear about the oligarchy of Trump. I'm like, you guys do understand that Kamala spent like $1 billion more than Trump in her campaign, and all the billionaires backed her except for Elon Musk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Zuckerberg came around once he saw like the tide was shifting. He's like, oh crap.
Right.
I've been censoring these guys for years. I better change my tune real quick.
And apparently Elon Musk is on the ballot here in Virginia because Democrats
Well,
are using him as a means to ride the anti-Musk sentiment to victory.
Yeah, I guess the Democrats they figure out like, oh, we could use it in Michigan, we could use it here, you know.
Well, I don't understand how saying how much you hate Elon Musk is going to help you get elected because he's not on the ticket against you.
Well, yeah,
you
it's
just
not
put
gonna
him on
help.
the ticket.
It's not gonna help them because the Republicans are not here and big Trump fans, especially Winston Sears. She's not a bad guy, but she's a basic Republican. You know, they don't want Trump nowhere around here to help them.
All right.
So we'll see how it turn out.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus
November.
Christ,
What's the primary start?
Well, I don't know if there is a primary.
Well, they need to do that for the lieutenant governor for Virginia.
Sometimes they do it by convention.
Okay.
All right. Well, a woman, professional disc golf player. I didn't know there was such thing as professional disc golf.
Yeah, there's a new thing now.
The game?
I've seen it as like it's really famous now.
Well, I mean, I've been playing for years, like since before I joined the Navy, but I didn't realize it became so popular.
It's a professional thing now.
So maybe your friend in Massachusetts could be doing that for a living.
He is no athlete by any means, and I got a feeling they're not gonna let you smoke a joint on the course when you're playing the game.
I thought that's what the game was all about.
That's what it always was for me, and it's like they made it pro. But this female disc golf player walked off the course for competing against a man. And she's doing the whole like, what's the point of having different divisions and everything? But people are all upset. Megyn Kelly even commented on this on X.
Okay.
But yeah, there's videos of it, and it's fascinating that it's made it to disc golf.
Transgender disc golf.
Oh, how about the biller? I was like, what?
The what?
The biller, the pool game, the pool. The two guys who were competing in the pool tournament.
Oh,
see that's
yeah. The women's division had two men competing for the women's title.
So I don't want to hear from females after this, like, oh, we equal to men. Apparently, you cannot beat.
Well, the issue is women go along to get along typically.
Yeah, and they did that a lot,
and that's why, like, oh well, no one else is making a big outcry about this. I don't want to be the one to do it. The same reason why most of them vote Democrat, especially white women, because they're
college-educated white women.
Yeah, well, they're the loudest group of people, so these women just go along with it and don't bother to look any of this up. Then you got like the black dude who's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? That's not what's happening." They like, "You're racist." It's like, bitch, you a rich white lady, all right?
You're more racist than I am.
Yeah. Look, that crazy broad in New York that snatched the MAGA hat off that dude's head. The white lady who stole from the black. Yeah, she tried. She fell on her face and almost broke her nose. Which, by the way, was digging through some of my stuff today to look for an old belt that I could use as a strap wrench. And well, I found my MAGA hat I bought for Trump's first campaign. And I was like, oh my, that's been sitting in a crate since I bought it.
You're afraid to wear it?
I'm not even, especially not here. No, in Massachusetts, there's no way I would have worn it. Maybe I would have been attacked.
It's like wearing a Yankee hat in Massachusetts.
It might have been worse in today's modern age, but 20 years ago, you wore a Yankees hat in Boston, you were probably getting your ass kicked. And I'm not kidding you.
Yep.
If you don't like somebody, you tap a Yankee sticker in the car.
Yeah, we used to do stuff like that, and we all like Yankee suck stickers.
No, the Yankees are the best, and put in.
Yeah, put it on their car.
Yeah,
we always put Yankee sucks on our car. I had a teddy bear that I put a Yankees jersey on, and then tied a noose and hung it in the corner of my bedroom.
Oh
For
god.
Halloween.
No, I kept it in the corner of my bedroom forever.
Oh, okay.
I was like, no, fuck the Yankees. It's just Boston Yankees rivalry is real.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Back to the trans folks in sports. Trump has pulled the transgender. Wait a minute. The funding for the trans inmates.
Yeah, because they still got a male that's been jailed in the female prison, and they're refusing to transfer him back to the male prison.
Are they susceptible to like? If you
Yeah,
get
why is the federal
impregnated in
government paying?
jail, are they susceptible for a lawsuit because you got an inmate got another inmate impregnated? You know.
Well, even so, like, why should the federal government be paying Maine money to incarcerate their criminals?
Unless it's a federal prison.
Yeah,
Well, that'd be a federal prison, not a Maine. You know.
Mm.
And I guess a judge just overturned his freezing of federal funds for the schools.
It's going all the way to the Supreme Court.
Well, then it's going to bring up the question of what is a woman. And when these folks say anyone who defines themselves as a woman or identifies as a woman, you're gonna be like circular logic. You can't use the word to describe itself. You know, like what's a tree? It's a thing that looks like a tree. Well, how does that help me? And you're right. I think this is going to keep going up, and it's going to be a real issue. And I'm getting really frustrated by these folks that are like, "There's no difference at all." Like, where do babies come from?
For the reproductive
stork.
Well, we found ours under a Cabbage Patch, but you know. But yeah, it's just like I understand that you're trying to be inclusive, but you're trampling on actual women here. Like, oh well, this person's been on hormones for a year and a half. Like, yeah, they also had 18 years to grow denser bones, more muscle mass, different center of balance. You know, different center of gravity.
Yeah,
like this stuff's already happened. Yeah. It just seems insane to me to have these folks compete in sports. And if you want to do something like this, I say go ahead and make one division of none of that matters. You know, you can say a trans division, but there's not enough people to do that. Let's just say anyone can play in this league and just watch the men completely control it, you know?
Yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, the amount of transgender people in the country is like so small.
Yeah, you're not
We're
going to
making such a big deal about them.
You're not going to get 2 high schools with enough trans students that want to play sports that are playing, you know what I mean, to fill the field out.
Yeah.
Sure, it's going to be tough to do. Even if you want to make like a professional basketball team, are you going to be able to find enough transgender athletes that want to play basketball in the entire country to fill out a whole league?
No, not at all.
I mean, that might turn into a fetish thing, like what do they call it? The lingerie football league or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like underwear models that wear almost nothing and play football. All right. So I sent you a text message the other day. I don't know if you saw it about how much money I made.
Yes, I saw it.
Well, they talk about insider trading. Like, oh, this is insider trading. That how all these people made all this money when Trump suspended.
They also lost a lot of money too. When I mean, people don't realize that these billionaires, 90% of their income is based in the stock market.
Well, not just that. Gen Z only owns like 2.5% of financial equities in this nation. Boomers own over 50%
Right.
of all these stocks. I mean, the wealthy. It's the poor aren't buying stocks. You know what I
No.
mean?
Uh-uh.
But Trump came out on True Social and said it's a great time to buy. And I was like, oh shit, I should
But
probably
he
go
wasn't
buy.
talking about that, and he wasn't talking about tariffs in general. He was just talking buy American, buy invest in the country.
I don't care what it was. It's not insider trading. If he put it out for the entire world to see at the same time, that's not insider if everyone got to see it, right?
Yeah.
So he said, great time to buy. So I was like, shit, I'm gonna go buy some more stocks now. And I was like, I don't know. And I went and I took some risks, bought some foreign stuff, thinking maybe this is a cue, right?
Right.
And then he went and half suspended these tariffs, like reduced them for 90 days.
Yeah.
Dude, I over doubled my net worth.
Wow.
I know. And I'm sitting here looking at it in my account and I'm like, how long do I sit on this? Like, do I dump it in 85 days or do I dump it in 10 days? You know? Because I would love to dump it, wait for the market to take another shit again when the tariffs go back into place, then buy it again. You know?
I mean, when I had to do Ameritrade, used to tell you when a split coming up. Hey, this
Yeah.
split, you just
Yeah,
sell
but
it.
that's something they have. Well, yeah, you sell before the split, or you. It's funny because when I was in I remember when Verizon did that, and I had the choice, sell it, do nothing, or literally just click the button and it automatically gave me twice as much stock.
Yeah, but
And
it's
I was like,
what the price.
I'll just take twice as much. So when it cuts in
Yeah.
half, I still have the same amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know not everyone's into the market, but if you have a 401k, you're in the market.
Mm.
And I'm going to tell you now, if you're younger than 50, don't worry about the market right now. Just keep putting more in your portfolio.
Yeah.
If you're retired, you're 65 plus,
Mhm.
you might be in a little bit of trouble trying to figure out how to get money out of your retirement fund. I get that. And I'm telling you, this is going to be the biggest wealth transfer since COVID, maybe bigger than that. Just wait. It sounds morbid, but wait for these boomers to die off. Well, no, and then their millennial kids inherit their $800,000 houses on the coasts of the United States.
Right.
Who are they going to sell this $800,000 house to?
Nobody.
Nobody. So all of a sudden they go, all right, let's try to sell. Because like, I got a place. I don't need that place. I'll sell it. Realtor tries to sell it for 800, can't. I'm like, all right, we'll drop it to 750. Drop it to 700. Drop it to 600. All of a sudden it sells for 350. Because no, Gen Z, they don't own any stock. They don't have any retirement.
They don't own anything.
No, they own nothing.
They don't want to own anything. They don't even have cars.
No, well, that's
most
of them
don't even have driver's licenses.
Well, that's in cities. Out here, everybody. I say that. A lot of ATVs.
They want to take Ubers and Lyfts.
Well, somebody had to work Uber and Lyft.
But yeah, I'm telling you, man, like no one's gonna be able to buy these places for $500,000 in the next 10 years. And the prices are just the housing market is gonna collapse. And it's not just gonna be in several years, it's gonna happen soon with everything that's happening. But the value of property is gonna go way down. Everybody's.
Yeah.
And
that's when you start buying the farm.
Yeah, well, you know what? You
buy a farm.
Take a mortgage out against your house when it's still worth a ton of money, then buy up 4 more properties when it falls.
Yeah. Oh, get a farm. At least you get sustainable, like you get income out of your property.
Yeah, go ahead and buy 10 acres. You don't even need to have a farm. You could buy 100 acres, right? There's a spot out here, 95 acres. I
mean, if it doesn't make you money, it's pointless, dude. Like, why not have a farm? Get like.
Well, hold on. I'm going to explain why.
Oh, go ahead.
I got a spot out here, 98 acres for $95,000. That's less than $1,000 an acre.
That's nice. Yeah.
Now, it's undeveloped.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is power run along the access to the road, so you can get power easy.
Mm-hmm.
One, you could build a hunting cabin out there and rent it out to hunters.
Right.
Or sit on it for 20 years, then parcel it out and 5-acre plots, 1-acre plots, and selling it off for people to build houses on.
Hmm.
It just sit. The land is finite. It's only going to go up in value over time. Now there'll be corrections because the boomers have been sitting on all of the property for 30, 40 years now.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting on like, I don't want to get rid of it. It's like, okay. All right. Now Trump's talking about tariffing pharmaceuticals.
Yes, we need to.
I don't necessarily disagree, but how much of our medication is coming from China right now?
I know we need to bring it back to Puerto Rico because that's when they used to make all the pharmaceutical, and it's tax free too. There's no income tax in Puerto Rico, so bring it back to Puerto Rico and another one probably somewhere else because you don't want to have.
Watch Puerto Rico become wealthy very quickly when they're making all the meds for the United States. But the
I don't
problem,
know. I don't know if that's where they're going to, but I'm just saying that's where they should go.
even if you
Well,
put them in
Trump's
Texas,
big thing with these tariffs is he's trying to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. Or if that doesn't work out, at least create an equal trade barrier between different countries. And for the longest time, China has a lot of these countries that everybody's freaking out about the tariffs where he tried to put on them.
Canada.
They already were tariffing us way more for probably 20 years. Canada's got that 50% tariff on dairy from the U.S.
On milk and butter specifically, it's 287%.
I knew it's through the roof. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. You cannot sell dairy to Canada from the United States. It's not worth it. You're going to pay too much tax.
There's no,
And
so when
when
Trump started, raising tariffs, everybody started freaking out about it. It's like, well, why are you freaking out about it? We're trying to create a level playing field between the countries.
They don't see that.
The big issue I see is ideally he could have put a time limit, not even time limit, a start time on like you have 3 years to bring your shit back in the country. Then these tariffs are going to come into effect.
Well, he's operating under an emergency declaration, and he's only allowed to put these things in place for 4 years. So
exactly, and it can be undone once he's out of office too.
Right. But if it's proven that it worked and it did what it's supposed to do, it's going to be hard for the next administration to like, oh, well, screw that. This wasn't good for America, even though the proof is in the pudding. I'm going to change it all back to the way it was. Let's give China their huge advantage on,
slave labor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but how long is it going to take Pfizer to build plants and set up shipping and
more than the time Trump's going to be in office for?
Exactly. So by the time these guys are up and running, Trump's going to be gone anyway, and we're already paying a massive tax on our insulin, for example. Now, ideally, these countries would just eat the tax, but I don't see China doing that. They're going tit for tat, and I don't know if you've noticed, but like the entire world, for the most part, is coming to the table, and they're all turning their backs on China over this.
Yes, they are. That's exactly what I think Trump wanted. He doesn't play checkers; he plays chess.
Yes, and you know what they say, 3D chess.
Yeah,
fuck 3D chess. He's just playing regular chess. He's looking 4 moves in advance. It's like if I move my pawn here.
Before this, China pretty much had everybody on their side, because everybody's getting cheap goods from China. But now that China's got 125% tariff, I think it went up more. I think isn't it like 145 now for all goods coming in from China? So Timu's screwed.
Yeah,
Alibaba is screwed.
Alibaba. It's funny. I actually brought that up to the wife. I was like, "You got to stop. You got to do what you're gonna do, Timu, in a hurry, then stop." It's like, "What?" I was like, "China is about to get nailed hard."
Yep.
But let's bring toy makers back to the United States. Like for real. I know how to use carpentry. I'm good enough with automotive. I went to school for auto. Guapo knows auto. Dude, let's make some fucking really cool wooden robot toys for kids. Right? Like that'd be cool as hell, wouldn't it? I'm just saying, like the average Joe could just pick up and start making toys for little kids, and little kids will be happy. They don't need the freaking robot that lights up and walks and makes noise. It could even just be like a rope tied into a doll, Anyway,
Mhm.
looks like your favorite governor out there in Michigan, Brian, is on Trump's side concerning these tariffs.
That's because she's gonna gain some popularity with the Michigan.
Well, she is not. No, it doesn't matter. She's not. I think she's
She's not
out.
for
I think she's term limited out after this one.
Mm.
Now, question: can she run again after someone else holds office, or are you only allowed so many in Michigan?
I think you're only allowed so many in Michigan, from what I
Okay, 'cause
remember.
some like I believe Virginia, you can only do two
Virginia,
in a-
you can do 4 years and come back after 4 years.
Yeah,
Doesn't happen
Yeah.
very often.
no, it doesn't, but you can. But Whitmer, we talked about this last week. Like, how much is it going to help Michigan if Detroit comes back to life building automobiles?
Oh, it's
How
going to
much
help it out
money-
immensely, you know.
Oh, so much money will pour into Michigan if they
But
become
she had the chutzpah to show up in the Oval Office with Trump, you know, and Trump actually gave her credit for that, you know, for coming to the White House and talking about tariffs with him.
Yeah, Trump's a brash guy, but if you show him respect, he shows it back. For the most
Yeah.
part, it seems.
Uh-huh.
Like Bill Maher just went to the White House and he came out. He's like Trump's not the guy you've seen on TV. He's
No.
cordial. He's friendly. He explains why he's doing certain things, and he's like, then you listen to CNN, like he just wants to kill people. It's like,
No, that was President Obama with his drones.
yes, which is funny because
It's back in the news.
That dude Sean was talking trash about Trump and his immigration policy. Like, oh yeah, I just had 3 of my employees deported and they were here legally. He just hates POC. And I was like, okay, first of all, it doesn't matter if you're here illegally or not. If you don't have citizenship, wherever authority you have to be here can be revoked.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like that's part of this the way this works. It's like, second of all, how is people of color any different than colored people?
It's not. It's just a different. You're putting the adjective in a different spot.
Yeah, he was so offended by that. That's all he would focus on. I'm like, even so, dude, you just said all the colored people got to go. And I was like, which is funny because he's deporting like Lithuanians and Ukrainians too, especially Ukrainians who came here to try to flee the war. But here's a good thing. With the tariffs and all the issues going on with China right now, the UK just bought, British government just bought back the major steel plant that China bought in the United Kingdom over there. So like, how many jobs is that going to create over there, right? Versus Chinese employees.
Well, it's in the UK, so
Like they're saying it's going to make UK people money. So like this is already helping foreign nations increase their own economy by bringing manufacturing back instead of depending on the Chinese.
But if they own the steel plant in the UK, I mean, shouldn't the same people be working there, whether it's owned by Chinese or the British government? The British government sounds like they're becoming a socialist country, and they're just taking over, you know, businesses left and right.
I understand what you mean by that because I don't think the government should be buying businesses, but that's
property. Well,
yeah, that's just the way most governments on this planet work. I don't know if you've noticed. Like, what property does the United States actually own? You know, we got some national parks.
What business has the government taken over and made it more efficient than a private company owning it?
Not even taken over. The VA medical stuff. What a mess that is compared to the private system, right?
It depends on the area. Different VA hospitals are a lot more efficient than others, so.
Yeah, but we're still dumping government money, and then you have to wait 6 months to see the doctor sometimes, you know? I get a good laugh out of this one, because Apple.
That's all the Dems and the NPR has been talking about ever since the tariff thing started. Your iPhone's going to cost $3,000. Oh no,
my God!
What will we do?
Okay, first of all, you're upset you have to pay an American citizen the wage that you demand they get paid.
No, they don't care about that. They want slave labor, dude.
Exactly. Then stop demanding a higher wage for American citizens. Then get upset when shit costs more.
Yeah.
Be like, oh no, we were making China. But it's funny because
Apple's already come out and said they are not bringing iPhone manufacturing to the U.S.
Well, here's the best part: is they just moved 600 tons of iPhones to
Yeah.
India.
But that's
because
only
it's a
going to last for, the
couple
next year
years.
or so.
But
That.
they just spent what I think they said it was like 3 jumbo freightliners, aircraft to move these things. As the United States exempts smartphones, computers, and a handful of other things that we can't make in the don't have the resources to make in the United States right now that are absolutely
Yeah.
necessary.
Well, I
So
mean, it's
Apple
not
just
going to,
flew.
whether Apple has them here now or they have them, they usually come out with a new model of phone every year. So
But it's exempt anyway. It's exempt from the tariffs. So
for
they
how
just blew
long?
it just says he exempted smartphones, computers, like anything with
But they're not,
microchips,
but even
basically.
though he exempted them, it doesn't matter. I mean, the phones are here now. That's great. It doesn't hurt Apple having the phones here. That just means the plant shut down or they start creating the new phones a little bit earlier, and start ramping up production on the new models. They don't have to make any more of the old models. The old models are already here.
The thing is, though, they didn't bring them here. They brought them to India, the nation.
Well, that's where they're being manufactured now. Apple has a huge manufacturing plant in China
Foxconn.
and in India. They
I know.
diversified away from China.
I know, but they just spent so much money moving these phones that are exempt from the tariffs anyway in an attempt to avoid the tariffs.
Apple's not losing any money on the deal.
Well, I mean, they had to pay for 3 jumbo jets to move all this hardware.
They've got the customers are going to buy the phones, so.
Yeah, which is funny because, people love Apple. That's fine if that's what you want to do. And the guys who did Apple were just great salesmen. They used free software online to make their products. And people spend so much money on it. I'm like, it's good for you guys for managing to sell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But China is doing a tit for tat and put the import tax on U.S. goods up to 125%.
And they said that's high as they're going to go. They said they're not going to go any higher than that.
If they don't back off, they're going to get in a lot.
I think they've got a lot more to lose than the U.S. does in this tariff war.
Yes, if it comes to a war of attrition, the United States will win this one, and I think that's exactly what's happening. Because you ever heard of Lucidity's trap? When a new rising economic power, comes up and challenges the leading economic power, war breaks out. So instead of trying to get into a war with China on the other side of the planet, Trump's like, let's tank their economy so they won't even be interested in fighting.
Right.
And like I said, the entire world is turning their back on China, coming to the United States and, hey, let's figure out how to fix this trade issue.
Right.
And the news is saying the exact opposite. But I'm like, these guys.
Oh yeah, it's all doom and gloom. Tariffs bad, tariffs bad.
Until the 1900s, didn't the United States make all the money in tariffs? Like there was no income tax until World War II. And that was FDR, and that was only supposed to affect the richest people to pay for the war effort. It was supposed to go away after the war. And now look at this. We're taking tax out of a minimum wage worker working part-time and then just giving it back to them at the end of the year. So like you gave the government an interest-free loan for 12 months,
Yeah.
What the hell? Why is the paper boy paying income tax? Well, now the Teamsters, the unions, are loving these tariffs.
I'm sure they are.
They know exactly. Well, especially the guys in charge of the unions, because how much money is going to be brought in with people joining the union?
Well, this article is about how the union's blaming, it's yelling at United Airlines because apparently they've outsourced a lot of their maintenance to China.
Yeah.
So they fly the planes to China to fix them and then fly them back after they're fixed. And that hurts the union because that means that, union workers aren't fixing them in China.
Well, and how long can you honestly piss off the unions before it genuinely affects your bottom line? Not as long as most people think. I mean, I don't think people understand who the Teamsters are. They're the biggest trade union on the planet, aren't they?
Yeah. It's not in here, but I heard when I was driving around today that Trump has ordered the the federal government to stop taking voluntary union dues from government workers.
Okay. Was
So
I
that
can't just
means
give
the
money to the
unions, if
union?
they want to get their dues, they got to find a different way to get it. It's not coming out of the union members' paychecks anymore.
Then how do you? Okay,
So he's
I don't know.
basically turning the federal government into a right work state because that means you don't have to be a member of the union. Like in
But
Virginia, you don't have to join a union to get, the union benefits.
yeah, but can I join the union and pay him if I want to?
Yeah.
Okay, because that was something at the shipyard I was looking at, and I talked to him. I was like, "Do I have to join the union?" Like, no. I was like, "Well, I still get the benefits." Like, yes. I was like, "Okay," because I was thinking about working at Northrop Grumman for
Right.
a while, and I did interviews. They offered me a job. I ended up turning it down. Um, I'm just wondering how the
But
unions
the
make any.
federal government shouldn't be unionized, and this is a
No,
big boondoggle for the union leadership. This is where they make all their money from, is having these employees that are they got huge job securities already as being a
yeah,
federal employee, you know,
it's almost impossible to fire a union
not
employee.
once they're past their probationary period. That's why DOGE is focused on, getting rid of people in their first couple of years of
Yeah.
working for the federal government.
Well, it's interesting because Massachusetts, I worked after I had my third seizure. I stopped welding because don't need that injury. You know what I mean?
No.
Um, and I immediately went out and found a job like 2 days later, just as a something to do until I find like real work. And I worked at the local supermarket, Stop and Shop, doing
Oh
overnight
yeah,
stocking.
yeah.
Uh, I was forced to join the union,
That's Massachusetts, yeah.
and I got minimum wage plus $1 because I did the overnight shift. So
Yeah.
I was literally bringing home less than minimum wage after paying union dues.
Yeah,
I
when
was
I
just
was in high school, I had to join the union in Michigan when I worked at Kroger.
I didn't like the idea of being forced to join unions. Like I even said, like I won't. You can fire me, you can whatever. I was like, don't give me any of the benefits of the union. That's fine. I want to be able to like
It
advance
doesn't
my
work
way
that
up.
way.
No, and they're like, oh no, the law is the law. I'm like, that's insane that I have to pay someone else to keep my job.
Yeah, that's Virginia. You don't have to do that. You don't have to
Yeah,
join the union in Virginia
which makes me wonder why anyone does if they're going to protect you
because
anyway.
the union people make it sound fantastic.
I'm going to pay you to tell me how to vote.
Yeah,
I mean, that's basically what it is, right?
yeah.
Uh,
So I don't understand this next article. The
Mark Carney, he's
80-year
got
period of the U.S. economic leadership is over. Since when?
yes.
When did we become the economic leader of the world?
Oh, after World War II, when we took the entire world's gold and kept it in Fort Knox to keep it safe, and then it all disappeared.
I would think
Uh,
China is more of an economic leader than we are at this point.
the GDP of the United States is much higher, but Mark Carney is talking particularly about trade with the United States, and he's the interim prime minister, and he's getting ready to cut off the United States as a trading partner. I was like, does Canada know that like 98% of their trade comes straight into the United States? Like, who are they selling their shit to?
The United
What do they make?
States.
What does Canada make besides maple syrup? And we can do that in Vermont.
And I'm not going to die if I don't get the Canadian maple syrup. Mrs. Butterworth works fine for me.
Uh,
I don't get
No, we
pearl
don't get
milling.
music.
I don't do pearl milling company anymore because I don't believe in that shit. You got rid of Aunt Jemima? Fuck you.
and that's not even real syrup. That stuff's like sugar slime, which don't get me wrong, it tastes good. But
I
real maple
know, but
syrup, oh
I don't. I'm not. If I don't get Canadian maple syrup, I will live.
yeah, I know. If you really want to buy the real stuff, you buy it from Vermont anyway, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, my father moved onto the property with my brother up in Vermont,
Uh-huh.
and I've been saying to my brother for years, like, you got like 40 acres of mountainside maple trees. Like, why aren't you making syrup?
And what do you say?
It's too much work. And I was like,
Oh,
So now your
yeah,
dad's doing it?
yeah, he's at least making his own. You know what I
Right?
mean? And he's got a little farm stand out there, or he's come by, drop off a couple bucks,
Yeah.
grab a bottle.
And I'm sure when he comes to visit the grandkids, he'll bring a couple bottles down.
Yeah, just like he was doing with honey in Massachusetts before I took it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got free maple syrup flowing out of these trees. Come
Right.
on, man.
Yeah.
And all you gotta do is basically boil it for a couple hours or something like
Right.
that to make it safe to make syrup.
It's a lot easier than making whiskey.
Yes, and it's funny because my brother makes whiskey.
You know where his priorities lie.
Yeah. Well, he said the work was going out from tree to tree and collecting the buckets and pouring them into one big bucket.
That's not that much work.
I was like, no, I was like, get an ATV, dude. You hit 20 trees, you go back to your ATV, you put the bucket in the back, 20 yards, do it again. Come home, make yourself some syrup. Dude, sell the shit. If he sold his homemade Vermont maple syrup in a gas station in Massachusetts, it would sell like hotcakes.
It's like $10 a bottle. You can $5-10 a bottle easy.
Dude, there's a local candy store over here called Bacon's Castle, and it's amazing candy, but expensive. Like damn, but I still get it once in a while, man. Like damn, they're selling the gas stations.
It's funny how the wife signed up for something. I think it's called Snack Box. Every month she gets this package in the mail with like 12 items in it, and it's all like snacks and desserts. But each month it's from a different region.
Oh, I heard about that. How you like that?
It's pretty cool. Thing is, they already hit UK, already came through, and there was no Scottish candy, and I was so mad.
Well, just called it UK or England?
United Kingdom is what it said.
Oh, okay.
They lied,
and I'm assuming that includes Scotland, right?
It should.
Yeah, there's Ireland, Scotland, and the British Isle.
Yeah. And I was just upset because I was like, we got like British candy. And don't get me wrong, these things called Millions, they're delicious. They look like nerds almost, but they're way chewier, almost like a gum.
You should, you know what? People like buys now, like they watch on YouTube reaction.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Shoot, we got these. It was like Chex Mix, but it was like super spicy from Turkey. And I was like, oh, that is so good.
Oh, really?
Maybe that's what I should do. Start doing reaction videos to these snack boxes.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, we got this. Like, let's react to it. Like, what we think, you know?
And every month it comes with a beverage too.
Oh, cool.
Right now I don't know a better way to put it. Like Aryan Europe. It's like German and Norway, and you know what I mean.
Oh, okay.
We got this Norwegian soda, and I laughed my ass off because it's Fanta. It's lemon Fanta. It's not always close.
Well,
to it.
Fanta's Germany. Fanta's Germany.
Well, Coca-Cola, yeah.
Because no. Fanta came from Germany.
Yeah, now Coke owns it. I know exactly.
Oh yeah.
And
there's a lot of our trading partners caved to Trump on the tariffs. You know, when he pushed back. You know, our closest allies like Israel got rid of tariffs. Japan's going to get rid of their tariffs. So a lot of countries, you know, saw where Trump was coming from on the tariffs and agreed to make changes.
Well, that's the thing. Is Canada just talked a bunch of shit about these tariffs, and now they're like, "Oh yeah, we're ready to drop all the tariffs if the United States." And they said they'll do it first if the United States matches. And of course, this is the premier of Ontario saying that, but you got your
prime minister.
You got your interim prime minister basically declaring trade war, and everyone else is like, hey, how about we just drop all of this and like actually have free trade?
You talking about the Team Walt from Canada?
Wasn't Canada? What was that?
Team Walt from Canada. Team Walt. He looks like a Team Walt Canadian version.
Okay, I did not notice that.
Oh yeah, they wanted
it's been a couple years since I saw Teen Wolf.
No, Teen Walt, the one that was running for with Kamala Waltz, yeah.
Well, okay.
Okay, never mind.
It sounded like you were talking about Teen Wolf.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, I watched that movie in high school.
No, the Canadian guy that was trying to shut down the power.
That was before Back to the Future, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They made a TV series out of that. It did not last.
Yes,
long.
They did. It didn't last.
which is too bad because come on, Teen Wolf was a great movie, especially when
It
he's playing
was.
basketball and he wolfed out.
Teen Wolf 3 wasn't all that great, but
I didn't know there was
Second
more than one.
there are
the
definitely
second
more
one is
than
the box.
one.
The
You
second
know,
one,
they made like 20 of them.
They had to, right?
yeah.
Was Michael
Each
J.
one
Fox in
got
any of them?
worse and worse and worse.
Was he in any of them besides the first one?
I think I've seen the first two.
Well, looks like the Republicans in the Senate are looking to nuke the California electrical vehicle mandate.
I vote for that because Virginia is attached to the stupid California mandates because our Democrat governor from the past and the Democrat legislator thought it was a great idea to tie us to California to make them look better.
Why would you say what California is doing? Why don't you come up with your own damn even if you like the policy, just copy it, right?
Democrats do what Democrats do. Who knows why?
And it's hilarious because they got this EV mandate coming up as they're lighting electric vehicles on fire.
Yeah.
So
like,
who's this?
Where's the logic?
The Senate with like the Congress, the United States Congress Senate.
The U.S. Senate. Yeah, they're trying to just to change. California's got crazy rules.
Yeah.
Allowed by the government, so they very much can dictate shit nationwide. They get to set their own EPA standards, and the senators. I mean, Trump can say you can't do that anymore. But he doesn't have the authority that if it goes through Congress does and makes it into a law.
Yeah, I know that, but I didn't know it was the state.
So if the Senate can get this through, then we can get it through the House of Representatives, and Trump can sign it, and California will be screwed.
Well, I didn't know it was the United States Senate or Virginia Senate or
no, in the United States Senate.
Got you. Okay.
And we apparently. Princeton University, another one of these great Ivy League schools that are private, was getting $4 million to research climate change. And Trump cut that.
Okay.
I mean, it's crazy that these schools are getting so much money for climate research. So,
I mean, I understand some.
$4 million?
Well, they're supposed to be studying in general and studying climate. Okay, that's a reasonable thing, but they're not studying climate. They're studying climate change.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different animal. You know what I mean? The climate has been changing since the Earth has existed.
Right. It's always changing. Every year it changes. Every minute it changes.
I wouldn't say every minute, but I mean, you could blame cars if you want. I understand the logic behind the greenhouse effect. But let's stop. Dude, I just saw this shit in Pembroke, Massachusetts. They just cleared a giant fucking forest and put in solar panels. Like, the trees were the ones cleaning the carbon dioxide from the cars.
Yeah.
And now that's gone. Like, instead of cutting down the forest and putting solar panels, why don't we make, like, solar panel, like, pavilions, basically? Put them over parking lots at your supermarket so your car's not baking in the sun and you're collecting energy from the fucking sun.
That makes too much sense.
Yeah. It makes way too much sense.
It does. Yeah. We need to shut you up. You're making too much sense.
I would even support, like, the not even the federal government, the state government getting involved. Like, hey, Stop and Shop. We'll install all of this for you. And you know what? We'll power your store off of it. I'm cool that Massachusetts deciding the taxpayers are going to do that with their own people. You know what I mean? But instead, they go and cut down a giant forest that's uninhabited.
Leave it to Democrats to be.
Since we came to the United States.
Yeah, Democrats to do shit.
Their logic is terrible.
No, they don't got one.
It's just
emotional, fucking driven. That's why they're fucking very, very feminine.
And that's exactly the problem, dude. Because like Snow White that just came out, that bombed in the box office, had a
but this article has nothing to do with it bombing in the box office. This thing says that it produced more emissions than the latest Fast and Furious. So these people are driving around fast cars, doing all kinds of stupid shit, and Snow White produced more emissions than that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and everyone's saying, like, you need to go watch this or you're you don't hate strong, independent women. I'm like, okay, first of all, you guys changed the movie. Okay.
Yep.
So
It's not. It's
and
not what. They
well, it's
just
like a
added in.
1,000-year-old story, and you guys
Yeah.
went and changed it.
Well, Disney changed it
And they wouldn't put
from the-
dwarfs in the movie.
So they did put dwarfs in. Here's the
But
thing:
they
is
weren't
did-
real dwarfs. They were
Well,
animation. They were like live action animation dwarfs.
Well, that's the thing is they initially got rid of them because Peter Dinklage bitched about it. I was like, dude, how many jobs have you got because you were a dwarf? Right?
Yeah.
No, for real.
All of them.
All of them. Like, especially his Game of Thrones character. And that was a
Yeah.
great character, wasn't it?
Yes, it
was. He was amazing, that character. Yeah.
And he made a big deal about it. He's like, oh, how dare you do this? So like, all right, we won't do dwarves. And everyone else was like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, you need dwarves and Snow White and the Seven Dwarves.
Yeah. That's why they changed the name. It's not Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's just Snow White.
But they brought back the dwarves.
And the seven
but they
baristas
also
for
had,
Seattle's.
they had 7 dwarves and 7 companions because they like they blew it. They lost money and polluted the environment more than the Fast and the Furious, a show about ridiculous cars going way too fast. Dear God, pay more attention to what's going on. This is what I keep telling my 5-year-old. I was like, you need to pay attention to what's going around you. Be aware of your surroundings.
You can have it on the swivel.
But I found out the average American, at least, I don't know about citizen of the planet, has no idea what's going on around them 85% of the time.
Yeah.
No.
They fucking head stuck to their cell phones and stuff.
Exactly. But like, I'm
And the
down in
worst
town.
offenders are the one with the earphones too. Like, dude, get the hell headphones out of your ears and stuff like that.
And look, I'm down in town, just doing daily or weekly business or whatever. And it's not even like I'm making it a point to check it out, but I noticed. I was like, okay, I got 3 guys open carrying out here. I was like, that guy there is definitely concealed carrying because he's doesn't have a decent holster and his shirt's like wrapped around it. I was like, that guy probably is, but I don't know. Like, that dude most has a knife in his pocket. And this is just boom, I noticed it because I'm walking into somewhere. You know what I mean? And this might have been the Navy training me to be aware of what's going on, because the pipe leaking steam that you didn't notice might be the one that cut your fucking head off, right? Wapo? Oh. Well,
No, sorry. Yeah.
High pressure steam leak, right?
Uh-huh.
It'll cut your arm off and cauterize the wound.
Yeah, that's why you use a mop.
That's why exactly use a mop or a broom handle.
Yeah.
Oh, on the Carl Vinson, we had a high pressure steam leak on the catapult system.
Oh shit.
And someone got hurt bad to know there was one. And they sent me to go fix it. And I was like, well, I have to know where it is first. Like, yeah, we'll go find it. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, I used the broom handle.
Yeah.
And I waited for it to get cut off, and I put a little mark on the pipe near it. And I got closer. I did it again and put it a little bit closer until I could locate it. Then I shut the steam off and repaired the pipe. But it was terrifying knowing that it would cut my fingers off and cauterize the wounds on the spot,
Yeah.
But that's the kind of crap that you sign up for when you pick to do these jobs, right?
Of course. That's why you give it big bucks.
Oh yeah, that's why I made so much money in the Navy.
Ah, no.
So you saw this volcano alert?
Yeah.
What?
In Chile, there have been 160 earthquakes in 2 hours in Chile.
Oh, better start fucking medical supplies and another across the Pacific.
That's actually not a terrible idea to start getting supplies ready to bring down there.
No. What I'm saying, like all the companies that sell medical supplies and stuff like that, because it's gonna be like a big shockwave going across the Pacific Ocean.
Oh,
you buy
what? Like a tsunami?
Yeah, a tsunami. So you buy like all this like medical supplies and stuff. At least you get a profit out of it. Hey, it's tragic. What can you do? At least make money out of it.
Well, it's funny because they're making a big deal about this potential volcano, and yeah, I get that. Like, I totally understand being concerned about a volcano erupting.
Yeah.
But it happens. Like, we had one a couple of years ago, a volcano erupted. One happened when I was in the Navy. An Icelandic volcano erupted when we were at sea.
Oh, yeah. We had to.
And we watched black ash snow out of the sky, and it was freaking amazing.
We had to learn how to freaking maintain helicopters with ice.
You know what? Yeah, I was going to say, you know what was not amazing? It was cleaning up everything on the ship when it snowed ash on us. But back to your tsunami issue. Trump's bringing back the tsunami shower head.
Yep. Make showers great again.
Well, what gets me is low flow shower heads restrict water flow, so you don't use too much water and cut everyone else off.
That doesn't mean
Bitch, I'm on a mountaintop and I have a well. It's my water. Okay, California and Massachusetts got together, and New York got together and said, well, actually, California in particular, because everyone down the Baja is getting all of their water from the Colorado River. And they're cutting down that, you need a low flow toilet, you need low flow shower heads. I'm like, fuck you.
Low flow
like,
toilets are the worst invention ever.
Yeah, you flush 3 times.
In order to get the shit to go down, you got to flush it like 3 times to make it
use
work.
twice as much water.
Yeah.
But like the shower head thing, I remember this going into effect many years ago and not thinking much of it. Now I'm like, dude, this is my water.
I hope Trump can make light bulbs great again too.
I think that
go back to incandescent.
Yes.
Why?
Well, the 5-year light bulb I buy at Home Depot lasts about 6 months, and it costs 5 times as much as the incandescent bulb.
Oh, dude, you should buy LED. No, they cost less and they're good for like 50 years.
Yeah, well, they don't ever last 50 years. I've yet to buy a light bulb that lasts 50 years.
Because you're not buying LED. And not only that, I can use my phone or even my Alexa doohickey to change the color of my light bulbs, which is pretty cool. Like, I'll tell like turn all the lights green for Veterans Day, and all the outdoor lights turn green. Or hey, look for the house with the red lights. I'll turn red when someone comes like, oh, there it is. Right.
Red light.
So
yes, I said red on purpose. The red light.
What do you think about this guy that was mistakenly deported?
Was he?
Was he mistakenly deported?
No, he wasn't mistakenly. Just he had a court order.
Not.
Yeah.
He was sent to El Salvador, I believe, and the only thing the judge says was don't send him to El Salvador because he fled there as some kind of asylum seeker.
Yeah, from the fucking gang roundup.
Yes, but now they're saying you have to bring him back.
Okay.
So he can go through the proper, deportation process.
What authority does Trump have to extradite an El Salvadorian citizen from El Salvador?
None.
No. But I want to say Maduro. It's not Maduro. Who's the guy down there?
Bukele.
Bukele does not have to listen to Trump say, hey, can we please have him back? He's like, no. He's in prison. He's a criminal.
Yeah, he did. He. It's like the fucking Democrats are calling like, hey, why are you sending Nazi Germany back to Germany?
Oh, I mean, we should just execute him here and now is what you mean by that then, right?
Yeah, but in El Salvador, you can execute nobody, so whatever, he could just stay there forever.
Well, and that's what got me is one of these court rulings that came out recently said Trump can use the Enemy Invasion Act. That's okay, but each person who claims it gets to have a hearing.
Right.
I was like, so how many people are actually going to get deported if we have to have a hearing for all these millions of people?
Not that many.
Yeah. All you do is throw a giant wrench in these gears.
That's what the court system's trying to do. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Put the wrench in the system.
Why do we want to import all of these people?
Because
they'll vote Democrat.
Yeah.
They can't vote.
Eventually they're going
to, but they will. That's the plan eventually.
That was actually something. It was funny. Sean put up a meme today and like, "Don't vote Republican. Here's why." And it showed a picture of every president back to Reagan. And I saw with Reagan's like Reagan increased the deficit by. I was like, okay, first of all, Reagan was a Democrat, not a Republican, so that was stupid. But then it went through all this stuff, and I was like, okay, well, Bush's deficit went up because Afghanistan at 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it went down and actually got balanced on the Clinton. I was like, Clinton fired 375,000 federal employees to do this. You won't let Trump do that. I was like, I was just pointing out.
They don't know the facts. They don't know the history. Most people don't take the time to do the research that's needed. Even with the internet in front of your face and ChatGPT, all you do is ask it a question, and they can look up the history from the internet. People don't take that time to do it.
And yeah, you point out to him like, I don't believe any of that. It's like, okay, you want me to share you all of the data, or do you want to actually like read something on your own? Exactly, dude. They don't seem to care.
No.
But yeah, anyway, that what I mentioned was the Venezuelan thing was what I was talking about with the court saying that he can do that. And yeah, they're saying they bring this guy back from El Salvador. It's like he has no
To
authority
have a hearing.
he has no authority to extradite him from his native nation. So essentially kidnap this guy, right?
Right.
To have a hearing to send him back to where he came from anyway.
Right.
You just want this to cost $20 million?
Oh, they want to make it as difficult on the administration as possible. And the IRS acting commissioner has decided to resign because Treasury has agreed to share immigration tax data with ICE.
So what did this person do that they are quitting their job over the fact that the government, the people in charge, get to see what this person has been doing? A woman, right?
Yeah.
I want to say she. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Don't really care.
What did she do that she's terrified of the powers that be seeing what she did?
Well, if I had to guess, she's a Democrat holdover from the previous administration that doesn't like changes that are happening in the IRS, and she's gonna do her protest by resigning.
That's fine. That just means you don't get paid 6 figures a year.
I guarantee that she's been there long enough where she'll probably still get paid 6 figures a year in retirement.
Well, if she's interim, that means she's just holding position between two people, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she hasn't been working for the IRS for the last 30 years.
Good point. You don't just get handed that job, I suppose, right?
No.
All right. Well, this next one I titled Kablooey. One, looks like Trump has authorized the United States military to take control of all of the federal land on the southern border. There's a giant strip between California and Mexico that goes through Arizona and New Mexico that these guys are going to operate out of the military bases there. I don't know. Where do you guys stand? They have the authority to do this, but I don't know what I think of actual active duty military controlling the border before even the National Guard does. You know what I mean?
But
where do you guys stand on this?
Well, did we just have an issue with the like a lot of people coming in and they got like cartels, stuff like that?
Yeah, but Trump
could
nationalize the National Guard and use them instead of the military.
Well, put them to do some work. Better protect our border than some other border.
I mean, we need to do something, that's for sure. But I think this is skipping steps.
Like what? What's the difference in the National Guard and the freaking?
The National Guard's controlled by the governors.
All right,
it can be nationalized. It can be.
All right, that means people from the United States, citizens, have to go do time on the National Guard. Or you already got an army, might as well you use it.
National Guard. This is what
I don't think he really needed to do this because since the last month since he's taken office, the southern border is pretty much shut down without doing this.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen next.
It's a trickle compared to previous administration.
He's about to go over the cartel big time, so probably he needs to stage him.
That's in here. Don't worry. That's actually the next thing because the Mexican president is issuing warnings to the president of the United States because now he's acting unilaterally and not cooperating. Mexico was somewhat cooperating with this.
Well, probably that's what he's staging.
But Mexico's so corrupt, it's controlled by the cartels.
So why
the government gets money from the cartels, so they turn a blind eye to everything.
So right now we criticize Trump because he put the army over there by the border, but it's not, like we don't know what's going on. Probably put it there for a reason. Let's see what happens.
I still think if you're gonna, it's one thing. Okay, it's one thing if you're saying, "Hey, we're sending the army out to this federal land to train."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but he said you're here as border patrol, basically.
Yeah, why not? We were complaining about why we send the army to border. Ukrainian border. Well, we get in there now, and we not happy now.
It has to do with the Constitution, habeas corpus, or something like that.
The army's not supposed to deploy on U.S. sovereign soil.
Right.
Well, we is close to the border, so we'll see what
happens.
He's
saying we're at war with Mexico.
You
don't know.
you need Congress to declare war anyway.
But he's not declaring war. He's just training them, man.
Well, that's what I say. If this was a quote training exercise, but he didn't say that.
What did he say?
He said that these guys are here to basically take care. I'm sorry, they're taking control of the land on the southern border.
Yeah, okay. It could be.
It sounds like they're occupying it, which okay, you can call that training, I guess.
Yeah, but like, it remind me of the 300. Like, why are you taking 300 soldiers with you? Like, oh, we
That's
just
as
go
many as I'm
for
allowed to.
you just go for a stroll, you know.
Well, yeah, he was only allowed to bring 300 personal bodyguards with him. He wasn't allowed to bring an army without
Yeah, but
the
yeah,
council, right?
whatever. But no, this is my personal guards. We just go for a stroll.
Yeah.
And probably
was a
that's
good
what he's
movie,
doing.
too,
Like, I
wasn't
don't know. I don't know what the information he got. You know.
Well, like I said, Mexico. Brian, I was saying,
Oh,
Mexico is
he
very
could use it
corrupt.
for scare tactics. Like, oh shit, let's not go over there now. You know.
Just intimidation.
Yeah.
So JD Vance went to Greenland.
He
Oh,
did,
yeah.
and the Greenland
Space Force base commander
That's
sent
funny,
out
I
an
mentioned-
email after he left saying we don't agree with what the current administration is saying.
So it's
And-
funny because I mentioned this to the wife. I was like, "Hey, babe, check this out." I was like, "JD Vance went to Greenland." She's like, "Yeah, I heard that." I was like, "All right." The commander of the Space Force base out there sent out an email blast saying, like, "We don't like what this guy's doing. We disagree with the entire administration." And she goes, "Oh, he got fired. Oh, hold on."
Wasn't it a
All right.
she?
She goes, "I know it. It's a she, isn't she?" And I was like, "Yes, it was a woman." She goes, they make us all look bad who were in the service.
I mean, when you get that high up in rank, this is a colonel.
You know better.
You know better, and whether you agree with it or not, you don't say shit out loud, and you don't send out an email to everybody on the base about it.
Because women want to have the
And
last
guess
word.
what? She was relieved of a command due to loss of confidence in her ability to lead.
Dude, okay, I'm
How many
tired.
times we heard that line?
I'm tired.
Well, that's because they never tell you what. Yeah, but that's always what it is. But that's what gets me is like, Guapo, could you imagine if you sent out an email to your entire command talking trash about the commanding officer?
Yeah,
What would
you know
happen
what?
to you?
You're fired. We're going to Cap's Mass. We're going to go to. You're going to get a dishonorable discharge.
Yeah, and no retirement pay, nothing, just out. You know what?
Yes. And this person was talking shit about the president,
vice president.
Well, the same thing. Yeah. Vice president, he's directly representing the president.
Yeah, obviously you're fired, and if you're surprised by that, then you did not deserve the rank you earned. If you didn't know to keep your fucking head down, keep your opinion to yourself, because you don't. Again,
you don't have an opinion.
You don't get to make the calls, right?
Yeah.
So Congressman Jim Banks said Colonel Myers tried to politicize Space Force and was held accountable. Lloyd Austin isn't SecDef anymore.
What, really?
Yeah. Because that Secretary of Defense was all about this kind of shit. He was all about DEI.
Yeah.
And he pushed it hard.
Oh.
Yeah, that was
Pete Hegseth is not about DEI. He's all anti-DEI. And one thing I just learned from my Air Force buddies that are still on active duty is there's no more family days in the Air Force. There's no more 4-day weekends.
What? What?
Oh. That's good for morale, and you know it is.
It is, but Pete Hegseth said no. They're back to 3-day weekends.
I mean, a 3-day weekend is still pretty nice. Let's be real.
That's still plenty, yeah.
Well, they were getting Friday and Monday off for the national holidays, and the Navy started doing it recently too. Since I got,
I don't remember 4-day weekends.
No, it came after we were allowed.
I remember we used to do like a picnic every year, and I think that was like pretty much it. And it was like mandatory fun. Either go to work this day or show up to mandatory fun, right?
Yeah, like that's your extra day of work or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Friday.
But the Air Force was one of the first branches of the service that came up with a family day where you got Friday off too. So, and they're gone now.
I mean, I understand 3 days is enough, but it is good for morale. But the thing is, again, what happens to the guy whose family isn't in town, he doesn't have kids, he's not married? Does he have to go to work?
That doesn't matter. No, he still gets a day off too.
Yeah, they asking for trouble. I'm sorry, too much idle time. You're gonna ask for trouble.
No, I know what you mean, but I'm saying like, let's just say, for example, what my wife did in the Air Force. She
Mhm.
crunched numbers at a desk about a specific aircraft.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if you had to take 4 days off out of a week, apparently
I'll leave the state.
your job is not important.
No, not necessarily important, but she could keep
No, no,
up
no.
because
Apparently,
no,
the
because
branch of service is not important.
well, because she was doing the data analysis for the
I know
F-22,
that,
and
but
there
I'm
was only a
saying like,
handful of them.
if we a war machine,
Oh
you have
no,
to be
trust me, I know
ready.
what you mean. I worked 18 to 20-hour days
Hmm.
uh in the Navy because of the job I did.
I
And the
know
ships were falling into such disrepair that I couldn't take 4 days in a
that's
row off.
understandable, but I'm saying like as a whole fucking
Yeah.
branch, is like you hold on, you take it 4 days. What the hell are we paying you for? Why? Like, why are you not ready? Like, I bet you if you go behind them and inspect all this stuff, is like they're not up to standard.
Well, that's exactly where I was going. Was I had to work extra long hours being the only welder on a
Mhm.
Navy ship that was 30 years old.
Yeah, but this is like the
Well,
Air Force
exactly. There's
branch.
always work to do. And let me quote everything you heard in every military branch. If you have time to lean, you have
You
time to
have to
clean.
clean. Yeah.
You could at least be cleaning your workspace and picking up trash on base, right?
Yeah.
And I
The
agree
Air
with
Force
you.
got it way too
But if
good. They
oh, they
need to give.
definitely do. We call
They
it the
need to
chair
go back
force.
to the army.
But I think they constitutionally need to. The United States has no authority to have a standing air force.
Hmm.
The Constitution lays it out.
Hmm.
The United States may maintain an army
Hmm.
and will maintain a navy.
Yeah.
Air Force used to be part of the army, and that was okay
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
was part of the army. That's why, technically speaking, the Marine Corps is still in the Navy and not separate and
Department.
just close friends.
Department. Yeah.
So what do you think about Hedgepeth coming out and saying that the U.S. is taking back the Panama Canal from China?
Well, yeah, didn't someone just buy the in and
Black
out
Rock.
port?
Black
BlackRock
Rock.
just bought in and out ports of the
Yeah.
Panama Canal, so they
From
could literally decide
Chinese-owned
who gets.
companies.
BlackRock's not China, I thought.
No, but they
No.
bought it from the Chinese.
Yeah, well, that means these guys can literally control who goes through the Panama Canal, and
And
I'm
how
not a
much
huge
they
fan.
charge for each side of the canal.
Exactly. Okay, we'll let China through, but it's going to be 100% tariff on everything that you're carrying, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and I'm not a big fan of BlackRock. They were the guys that caused the last housing market crash. I don't know if you remember that. And
Yeah.
and since then they've been buying up property the whole time. But and look at that, they bought both ports of the Panama Canal. These guys, I get it. There's only so much land, and this is critical land that's going to worth millions and millions of dollars every single day.
Yeah.
But the Panama Canal still blows my mind. The oceans on either side are different levels.
Yeah, you have to go through several different locks to do it, you know?
But
it's not like the Suez Canal where you just, float on through.
Float right through.
You got to go in and get lowered, and then you come out in the lake, and then you might get lowered again, if I remember right, depending on which way you're going.
I never did the Suez. I only did the. I'm sorry, I never did the Panama.
I didn't either. I just read about it.
I did do the Suez. That was really cool.
Yeah, I did that a couple of times.
Yeah, it was. I remember I went out. Walked to the edge of the aircraft carrier. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I looked down. I saw sand.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's weird. I could have sworn we needed water for this thing. Walked over to the other side of the ship. Plush green forest.
Yep.
Look down and I see grass. I'm like, I still swore we needed water for this thing. But yeah, it was desert on one side and gorgeous forest in Egypt, you know?
Yep.
It was insane. One of the most beautiful things I've seen in my life. I'd love to do it again, but you don't just get to go through the Suez Canal for shits and giggles. You know what I mean?
Do we really care about Ukraine?
No.
Well, I care because they're talking about putting up a fucking wall like they did in Berlin after World War II.
Who's going to build the wall?
That's an excellent question because I thought walls were racist. But yeah, General Kellogg said this, and I was like, whoa.
Who is General Kellogg?
Well, he's not a general anymore, is he?
I don't know. Was he?
He was. I thought he was I thought he was a general. I'm sorry.
I don't know who.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. He works for the State Department.
Mm.
I thought he was a general at some point. Maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, he's talking about we might end up putting in a wall to separate Russia from Ukraine, and like, boom, here's the new border, and this is where it's going to stay. I was like, damn.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't like that idea, honestly. They've tried this before in history.
A wall? They work.
And
It can work. Look at the
it's
Chinese.
one thing when you stop, but yeah, and actually, I really want to see that wall, but I do not want to go to China.
You don't want to get kidnapped and disappear.
Well, because they're saying like Berlin style, like cutting families off from their own family versus the actual border. Like they would redraw a border and put up a wall, and that is a little terrifying. It's another thing if the border's been there for even 50 years before you put up a wall. You know what I mean? I thought it was a little crazy. Now Zelensky's begging his allies for help after everything fell to shit with the United States. Who are Ukraine's allies?
The United States probably, and the UK, EU.
So EU, not NATO.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right. He was a lieutenant general in the Army from 1967 to 2003. Once he got out of service,
I'm a genius.
He was the executive secretary and chief of staff to the United States National Security Council. Then he became the national security advisor to the vice president of the United States, Mike Pence. And now he's the United States special envoy for Ukraine and Russia for President Trump.
Look at me.
Lieutenant general. So
okay, a rear admiral's not an admiral. Yeah, okay. A 3-star out of realistically 4 stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get to a 5th star, but we have to be a war and you have to be put in command of the entire fucking army to get a 5th star. All right, this guy was a badass, and you're always a general after that, unless you had it taken away from you, right?
There's one person had to give it up for a while,
and he does have a Bronze Star with a V.
Damn.
You know who's the only person who the only general had to give up the rank for a while and got it back?
No, I don't know, but I'm just gonna guess Patton because that'd be the worst person to pick.
No, Eisenhower. He cannot be a general and a president.
Yeah, you can still call. Well, okay, you keep the title general.
After,
but once you become president, that's a much bigger title anyway.
Yeah, but after that, you get the privilege and everything as a general.
The new title of Mr. President, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Ike. Yeah.
Was he a general?
Yeah, 5 stars. The Supreme Commander of the Europe. What was the Supreme Commander of the
Eisenhower wasn't, I didn't think. MacArthur was the only 5-star.
Yeah, there's only one 5-star general, period.
No, you had the Eastern Front and the West Front, the Pacific Front.
But only one is a 5-star.
Both of them.
The one 5-star tells the other 4 stars what to do.
MacArthur and Ike were both 5 stars.
Not at the same time.
No, they're both.
No.
Different theories.
No, the one 5-star basically is the authority of the president of the army. He tells the 4 stars what to do.
Hold on. Because I bet to him he got 5 stars.
Possibly, but if they both had 5 stars, they were at different times.
No, at the same time, because one is one theory.
But there's one 5-star, and he commands all the 4 stars on different fronts on how to conduct their forces.
Yeah, but
as if he were
MacArthur was on the Pacific Front.
It doesn't matter where he was on the planet. He still tells everyone on the planet what to do with the army.
All right, let's see. Yeah, I
For
got
some
you go.
reason, I thought Eisenhower was an admiral. I don't know why I thought that.
No, he was a
He
armor.
was
I know.
in the army.
Maybe I'm
He
confusing him with
was
Nimitz.
the chief of staff of the army for a while.
Oh wow, that's a hell of a job too. All right. Well, the United States has sent F-16s to Taiwan. China
Is
is
that like an
unhappy.
escalation of war?
Well, the United States isn't doing shit with them. We dropped them off as, hey, boost your Air Force. The F-16 is one of the most devastating weapons on the planet, right? They're
Yeah.
most capable and proven. Do we see something happening with China, or is this just help Taiwan out?
I definitely think China's escalating.
Especially because if China wants to take over the chip manufacturing in Taiwan and basically cut the United States off from chips or pay the insane tariff that we put on it, now is the time to do it. But I really don't want to see the United States get involved in a war with China right now. And exactly like I mentioned earlier, I think we want to crush them economically at this point instead of getting into a hot conflict with China. I mean, do we really want to go around the planet to fuck with China right now?
No.
And let's be real, dude. You can't just take over China from an aircraft carrier like you could France. Not picking on France, but there's a whole bunch of coastline, right?
Yep.
China is so enormous, you'd have to put troops on the ground and march across that giant, giant country. And then you have to deal with Russia right there, too. Take that as an immediate threat, you know? They say China has like 2 billion people. I think they inflated their numbers, but still, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Dude, apparently, okay, it says Navy deploys another. It says Houthi fighting warships to U.S. southern border. I don't know why they call it. Are we pulling these ships off of the Houthi forces we have in the Red Sea to come here to defend the U.S. southern border? Because this says another, which makes me think there was a first one. I didn't realize we had Navy ships defending our own border right now. That seems fucking nuts.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. We don't know what's going on in Mexico, so.
Yeah, no, you're right. You'd rather have the Navy there.
And it's going to have a embarked U.S. Coast Guard law enforcement detachment.
Yes, they're working with the Coast Guard. So
they returned. In February they returned to San Diego after a 7-month independent deployment.
So this is kind of like what I did on the Vela Gulf in the Med Sea. We were there on a cruiser without a battle group, just alone. And we floated around the Red Sea to protect, in case someone fired a missile at Israel, we were supposed to shoot it down. That was our entire mission. I think Guapo might have found something to blow us up here about the 5-star, but I still think he's wrong.
No, go ahead. We have count how many stars he got in his collar. He got a 5. He was a Pacific Front general. Mike was in the European Front.
I'm still saying they must have had him at different times.
No, they both. World War II happened at the same time, Japan and Europe. So they had
and it lasted several years.
MacArthur lasted longest too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying we changed president in the war.
No, still had the same president.
No, you're right. He stayed in past his typical term, didn't he?
So he got one Pacific tier and your Atlantic tier. So.
Hey man, it's been a long time, but I could have sworn there's only one 5-star.
I bet, dude, he's great resting places here. So I bet there are a lot. Like, okay, so about 5 stars too. You know.
All right. Just I remember specifically learning that there's one 5-star who basically takes the authority of the president.
It depends on the tier too. Yeah, like
but then they act as the president and hand out orders to all of them. But we've had
like how can you manage like army like halfway around the world? You know, like
same way the president does it.
No, the president just like he just giving them like, hey, take care of this shit. You know, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though it's the same way the president would do it.
Yeah. But no, that's why they had to.
Was there ever a 5-star admiral?
You know what?
There must have been.
There's a, you know, it's funny enough.
Nimitz.
Nimitz was a 5-star. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was a genius too. The stuff the United States Navy did in World War II was, oh my goodness. The Battle of Leyte Gulf.
Nimitz was a person.
Anyway,
Mhm.
moving on. I didn't realize we were sending Navy ships down to the border, but it does make sense. The Coast Guard does their job. Then you have a Navy gun there.
Mhm.
Should shit hit the fan, right?
And you had an
It-
army stand by just in case shit hit the fan too.
Oh, actually, excellent point, Guapo. Oh, way to tie that back in. That was excellent, dude.
Yeah, just plus
and-
you never know what kind of like information he's getting. Like, you know what? Let's just send over that in intimidation purpose. You know.
Well, and I mean, let's be real. How long is it going to take the Navy to get backup ships to help out at the border should they need it? You got San
many ship-
Diego base, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you
So that's
got
a
the
couple hours you can get underway, and then another couple hours be at the border on one side. And there's something in Texas, I'm certain, right? That it has a Navy facility.
Yeah, they
There has to
do.
be. There has to be. So it's not even like if they need reinforcements, it's going to take forever for like the Navy to show up with more than just a cruiser, you know?
Yeah.
I just didn't realize we were doing this. This opened my eyes. Trump
Well,
is actually looking
apparently
at
the Carl Vinson left port call in Guam to go back to the Middle East.
Yeah, they're heading over to the Red Sea with the Eisenhower. They're there because of the Houthis. And I'm sure you know we've been blowing up the Houthis every day, right?
Yeah.
Dude, 2 United States Navy battle groups. And Jesus, what the fuck are you gonna do with this much firepower? No, this is wipe out half of Europe firepower.
Hey, carry
2
stick,
aircraft carrier
speak
battle
softly,
groups.
you know.
Huh?
Carry a big stick, speak softly.
It's just insane. Like how many ships are in a battle group? I mean, what, you got 2 frigates, 2 cruisers, a couple 2, maybe 4 destroyers, an aircraft carrier, and a question mark amount of submarines that we know have nuclear weapons on them.
Yeah.
And you're sending 2 of these teams?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude! That's 180 aircraft. Do you know how you could nonstop bombard someone from an aircraft carrier, from 2 aircraft carriers for months?
Yeah.
That's just insane firepower. This is end the war kind of shit.
Yeah.
And we just sent another one there. And what's even more fucking nuts is we just sent a whole bunch of B2s and C-17s to Diego Garcia.
Patriot missiles with
Yes.
Patriot missiles on them.
Yes. Well, Diego Garcia, check this out, is close enough to Iran to bomb all of Iran in terms of distance it can fly and come back.
Well, Trump just did tell Iran to make a deal or it's war.
Yes, exactly. But dude, these B2s can fly from Diego Garcia to the far end of Iran and back without needing to refuel. But that's okay because they brought refueling tankers too.
Of course they did.
Dear God. But it's also far enough away from Iran that they cannot hit us with their ballistic missile technology. Dude, if we send 2 Navy battle groups and a bunch of stealth B2s and Trump's threatening war, oh my God, dude, Iran does not stand a chance. And I'm starting to understand why he sent all this firepower, because Iran's not Afghanistan. It's not a fucking desert. It's mountainous. It's impossible to march across. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just blow it up from the sky. But that means basically every civilian's going to die because he's going to turn it into a fucking giant canal with that much firepower, you know? Oh, by the way, I found Yemen. We mentioned I couldn't find Yemen on a map. I made sure to look it up. It's the border on the south side of Iran that
that's where the USS Cole went in for refueling and was bombed.
Yeah, and you know what? We never did a proper retaliation for that. I think it's the only time someone got away with fucking with American ships and didn't have something happen.
Yeah.
Right now they're fucking with our boats, right? And
Yeah,
Trump was like,
who-
"You better back off. We're going to war." As he brings in world-ending weaponry.
yeah. I think that's our shit.
I think you might be right, dude. Okay. Guapo. Before we go, I want Guapo. This dude, Austin Metcalf.
Did you hear me? He got kicked out.
Last
No,
week,
you're not kicked
track
out.
meet.
Oh.
Track meet to this one kid sat under the wrong team's tent. Basically, they told him to leave. Went to go, escort him out physically. Dude stabbed the guy in the heart. Killed him. We don't know all the details, even though everyone seems to think they do.
Yeah, apparently there's a video of it, so we'll see what happens.
Oh,
They're
I didn't
probably
know
gonna use
that.
it court. Yeah, you're gonna use it for court.
From what I understand, is this kid reached into his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens," which it sounds like a threat to a lot of people, but it also sounds like fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm going to be neutral on this situation, but
Well-
a 17-year-old student did lose his life.
Yeah.
Being stabbed with a weapon that you're not allowed to have on school property. I'm thinking this young man's at least guilty of felony murder because he committed a felony by getting on that school property with his weapon.
Yeah, he's manslaughter probably, but nah, first degree murder.
No, that's why I'm saying felony murder because it's a death occurred while in the commission of a felony. You could literally have not even been involved with the person that died in a felony murder case. You just had to be involved in the felony. Like you're the getaway driver and your buddy robs the bank and shoots someone. You're guilty of felony murder. And that's why I'm thinking that's the worst charge they're going to get this guy on. They're trying to get him with a first degree murder for bringing a weapon on school grounds. And I know the conservatives are going to act very fucking liberal on this, saying, well, you're not allowed to have a weapon there, so you're wrong. My libertarian's going to say, fuck you. You have no authority to tell me I cannot keep and bear arms. Right?
Because he's a, I guess. Oh my God.
No, well, okay, according to the local rules, you're not supposed to. I'm saying that
Well,
rule is unconstitutional.
well, we don't know the local and the state laws, how they dictate.
It's Texas, and Texas does have a no weapons on school policy like every other state.
Because of the federal ground, yeah.
But I don't care. Like,
aren't most schools drug-free zones too?
Yeah, they still drugs.
Yeah, so you get in extra trouble for having drugs in school. It's a felony just to have drugs in school, let alone possessing them. And just like it's illegal to carry and it wasn't a pocket knife. It was like it was long enough and powerful enough to get through his sternum and stab this kid's heart. So it wasn't a folding knife, right? I don't know, man. I got a feeling the worst they're gonna get him on is felony murder. If they try to go for a first degree murder, that's gonna get thrown out. And the reason why there's been so much in the news lately,
because it's involved a black and a white kid.
There was a black young man who stabbed a white young man to death, and we know had this been the other way around, it would have been everywhere. But you probably only came across this story.
There would have been protests.
Well, he's raised something hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay, you know what? Even I don't know what is it with these people that defending like whoever whoever's
Alleged.
guilty, alleged person. Because remember we got the baton incident. It's 2 black people involved and they're still protecting the whoever used the weapon. You know.
Well, I'm gonna bring up Kyle Rittenhouse because people made a big deal about.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Hold on. They were saying that he wasn't old enough to legally own that weapon because he was 17.
No, he
and
probably
like, no, but you have a right to defend yourself.
Yeah, he was defending himself when it was legal.
And no, I'm sorry. I don't know if you saw this guy. He's like 6'2", like 145 pounds. He's a little skinny nothing. And
who? Rittenhouse or the pedo?
No. The young black man.
Oh, okay.
And 4 white dudes came up to him and went to physically escort him out. I could understand the intimidation, especially with what the news cycle was putting out. He might have genuinely felt the threat of his life. Now, that's a courtroom to make that decision. I'm just saying that too many people have written this off as a murder.
okay, if let's say for instance, uh, you go to a place, you're in the wrong place, and you're wearing a knife with you, aren't you asking for somebody to confront you?
So
You
I
carry
get,
it. Why would you carry a knife to begin with, unless you expect something to happen? You know.
I carry a gun.
Yeah, yeah, but you're 17 in high school.
Well, okay. I understand what you're saying
You're
by that.
not.
Why
You're
did
not
you
even a
no, I
folding
see
knife
no,
either.
yes, but the issue isn't whether or not why did you have the weapon with you?
That means,
Because I say you have every right to have it.
Right.
yeah,
Doesn't matter why you had it.
but at school, no, you're not allowed to.
And that's
You
what
know
I'm
what?
saying. You sound like a liberal, not a libertarian right now.
No, no, no.
Because I say
Okay,
no, I'm saying that you have no authority to tell me I cannot have a weapon on school grounds.
yeah, you can. The government says like, hey, you're not allowed
No,
to
the
have.
Second Amendment overrules this shit. You have to amend the
Okay,
Constitution.
does the Second Amendment still protect me if I go with a gun right now to the school right now?
It's supposed to, is my argument here.
Yeah, we're supposed to, but it's not gonna get you that.
Okay, so you're saying he was a fucking moron. I still think it doesn't matter if he was a moron. He had every
Yeah, yeah,
right to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you have, or just
She made
you
a
like
bad
you,
choice,
yeah, he made a bad choice. You go
but
front
that
to the,
doesn't
you
but I still
accelerate,
think he has,
you scale the fucking threat, and like you stab the person. Instead of like, you know what? Let me get out of here. Let me get the fuck out. They probably would not pursue you after that.
no, you're right. Every single time you can
You
avoid
you're
conflict
not
is
retreating yourself, but just like, you know what? I don't want a confrontation. Let me get that
well, I
back
know.
out.
And depending on
The
the state you live
de-escalation
in, well,
process.
hold up. Depending on the state you live in, the same thing could happen with a gun. You had a chance to walk away, but you chose not to. But some states, like West Virginia, I
Mhm.
can say, get off my property. You say no, I can shoot you.
That's your property. That was his property.
I know, I know. I'm just talking about what counts as self-defense,
Yeah,
depending on where
but at the
you
same
are.
time, you're not gonna
But
be
no,
like,
but this is Texas.
yeah,
Texas is a stand your ground state.
yeah. But I think he forfeited his ground because of something happened. Right now, I'm already buzzed, so I cannot recall what it is.
I know, no, I agree. This kid made a terrible decision. A young
Yeah,
man lost his life, and I know as a fact this kid feels bad
they're not.
because no,
They're
on
not.
the body cam of the cop, he's like, "Oh my god, is he gonna be okay?" He's like, "I can I at least call this self defense?" And I was like, "Dude, if he asked the kid was okay." I think this dumbass panicked and made a whole bunch of bad decisions. That does
Yeah,
not make
bring a
it
knife.
murder. Does not make it first degree murder.
Okay, first of all, if I had to go somewhere, I had to bring a weapon, then probably I should not be there first.
Dude, I carry a gun down into
Yeah, I know,
town.
but I know what I'm saying. Like I should not be there unless I know the prosecute, like if you don't got no business, like okay, do you know what? I probably may get assaulted there. Should I go there? Like no, but
Ryan,
it's just like,
he sounds like a liberal saying if you need a gun to go there, you shouldn't go there.
hey, there's the
Dude,
same
I'm allowed to
mentality
carry a
when I
gun
like.
anywhere I want.
Yeah, you can anywhere you want, but you know what? There's gonna be confrontation. There. Do I need to get confrontation right now? No,
Well,
not today.
that's why most states, if a situation happens, and most gun owners avoid confrontation,
Yeah,
knowing how this could escalate.
yeah. Then you have so much paperwork because it's
Well,
fucking
hold
paperwork.
on. Now you have a testosterone infused teenager dealing with puberty, et cetera, who is dumb enough to have a knife, and the testosterone exploded. I'm not defending this kid. I'm just saying that people are already writing him off as he's going to prison. I'm like, he might not get convicted, and he might actually have a fair chance in a courtroom.
Yeah, he may, but we have to see evidence and stuff like that. I mean, from what it's seen so far, is everything's against him.
But yes,
This
I will agree with you, dude. Don't bring a
there's
knife to a
evidence.
school event.
Yeah, he's already, especially on the age. You know, if what's going on in your life, you need a fucking knife at 17. You know,
what difference does it make?
then you have to talk to the teacher like, hey, can you fucking? This is what's going on.
No. What difference does it make?
I understand, but you're
You
not.
have
He's not
every
an
right.
adult. Okay,
What's
so
an
if that's the
adult,
case,
dude?
So he
Hold on,
should
you're
have
telling me.
he should
So
have a
Kyle
gun
Rittenhouse,
too.
hold up. Should Kyle Rittenhouse have gone to prison for having a possession of a rifle when he was 17?
His fucking entire neighborhood was getting on fire. Of course, he was there.
But he picked up a gun at 17 and it was from a different state. It wasn't even his rifle.
All right, okay.
No,
You
but
want to
you
compare
see the
apples and
argument.
oranges right now because
That's a gun, not a knife.
the city was on fire. He was helping people to clean up and everything.
And it wasn't
This
his
guy's
city.
a piece. Huh?
It wasn't even his city.
His family live in that city, dude.
But you see, my point is,
You just want to be confrontational about it because
no, I'm saying that you can't use the underage argument because it has to apply universally.
Yeah, of course, but he brought a knife to his school. He now is allowed to. It's like bringing a gun to a courthouse. You know he's going to get arrested.
And Kyle Rittenhouse showed up in an area that he knew that had been rioting, carrying a very powerful rifle as a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And the court found he had every right to defend himself.
Yeah. But
I think the same thing's going to happen with this kid, unless he gets felony murder because he committed a felony by bringing a knife on school property.
Okay.
I think that's our shit.
It is. I've been wanting to talk about this for like 2 weeks now. I've been listening to everyone talk about it. I'm like, some of you guys got decent points. Most of you guys have no idea. Guapo at least had an argument to make. I disagree with his argument, but I respect it because it made sense.
Right.
But I'm still going to go.
We used to call that a debate.
Yes. Well, yeah, and you don't see that on the left anymore, do you?
No.
You don't see people disagree but still have a fun conversation.
They said your Tesla on fire. That's all.
All right, Brian, you're right. Pinch this turd off. This one
All
stinks.
right.
It's big fat stinker.